Alrighty. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. If you are, let's see, is there a chat here? Yeah, there's a chat here. Cool. Okay. So, for everyone that's joining us today, type in the chat really quick who you are. If you're an artist, maybe your artist name, where you're from, what's for dinner today. I think, Adam, you're 3 hours ahead of us, right? Are you 3 hours ahead of us?
Yes, 3 hours
Okay.
ahead.
So, what's for dinner? And then, how did you find out about this webinar today? So, if you're just joining us, let us know who you are. If you make music, maybe what kind of music you make, what's for dinner today, and how'd you find out about this event? So, we have Blake here, who I'll introduce in a little bit, and of course, Adam Avello, our special guest today. My name's Elaine. For those of you guys that don't know me, I am one of the founders of Neon Owl. And let me check in the chat really quick. Who do we have? Okay, we have Daisy. You had a burrito. Shapeshifter. We have Ethan. We have Joshua. Oh, Joshua. Hi, I talked to you yesterday. Anomaly. We have Frank. We have Brian. We have Jenny, Yusuf, Michael, Kevin, David. So, folks, there's a chat button. If you guys want to click the chat button, you guys can chat everyone, and then everyone can see your message. You guys can also feel free to drop your Instagrams. You guys want to connect with one another. For those of you guys that's been here, hi again. If it's your first time, my name's Elaine, one of the founders of Neon Owl. If you guys aren't familiar with Neon Owl, we are a music community and collective. We do a lot of education events like this all over the world. Started in San Francisco, brought it down to LA, New York, all the major cities. Vegas, went out to Vegas with Blake, Atlanta, Miami, AD, all the places. We also host an artist development mastermind program where we meet weekly, work with a lot of artists on developing their projects. We do like weekly feedback events like this, bring in different guest speakers, work on music. If you guys want to find out more about that, we'll have someone drop more info in the chat. So we're super excited to have Avello today. Of course, he's gone super viral. Of course, he has some amazing songs, amazing remixes. So we're excited to dive into one of his projects today, which Blake will host. And we're going to dive into the art of social media because that's been a really interesting piece that he's managed to really dial down. So I'm going to introduce Blake, or I'll have you introduce yourself, and then we'll have you do a quick little interview, a mini interview with Adam before we dive into the project breakdown. And for those of you guys just joining, once again, type in the chat who you are, what kind of music you make, what's for dinner today, and how'd you find out about this event. So, Blake, give us a quick little intro.
Yes, what's up, guys? I'm Blake. I'll be hosting a part of this today, and I'm a vocalist living in LA. I'm been doing top lines for a couple years now. Music's always been a part of my life. Joined the Neon Owl Mastermind program a couple years back, and has really grown my brand a lot. But yeah, enough about me. Let's dive into Avello, my guy. How's it
What's
going,
up,
brother?
man? Great. How about yourself?
Chilling, chilling. It's a beautiful Wednesday night.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, I'm curious as well as I know all these other people in here are curious, like just maybe your start into the musical journey of like how and why you became a musician in the first place, and just like from the roots up, if you want to start there.
Well, ever since I was a little kid, it always just seemed like the best job ever. Whether it was an instrument or a DJ or just anything in music always seemed so cool to me. And then I really got into EDM like late in high school and started going to festivals and started really getting into like a Illenium. And when I heard his Awake album, I just had to know how he did it. I felt like he captured so many emotions with his music that I had never heard captured before and just wanted to figure out how he did it. So, towards the end of senior year of high school, this was 2018, I got the trial version of Ableton, and I had that for like 8 months, and I would just try to make something. It would sound like absolute crap, and then I'd close my laptop and just feel like, this isn't for me. And that went on for almost a year. Every couple months, try to make something, realize it was insanely, mind-numbingly hard. And then, start of 2019, a switch flipped, and I was just like, you know what? I don't care how hard it is. I'm just gonna watch YouTube videos 24/7. I'm gonna brute force my way through it and figure this out because nothing else makes sense to me. And that's where we brings us pretty much to where we are now. Fast forward, just from that day on, I kept my nose to the grindstone and didn't let up.
Well, I love that. So you skipped through a lot, but it kind of gave the brief outline, I guess. But
Yeah.
I'm just curious. You've probably seen and been through a bunch of different things and various stuff in the music industry. What was kind of like your biggest lesson that you learned being a part of the music industry?
It's a good question. I think the biggest lesson I've learned it is what I notice about the people who find success is they don't get caught up on the individual success or failure of a song or of a post. It's all just building blocks up for the whole thing, right? So you drop the song, doesn't do well. Some people get in their head about it and they tear it up and they get discouraged. The people who I think really find success, they just go, oh well, they take it as data, and they just move on to the next one.
I love that. And you had mentioned that you kind of like were inspired by Millennium when you
Hmm.
first in high school. Was there like a pivotal moment though that was in your career that kind of significantly changed who you are and what your sound was and how your music looked, how your brand looked?
A pivotal moment. I would say the most significant pivotal moment in how my music changed was this year. I did a remix of this Jigget song, "Tell You Straight," and it was not my style. Like I'm usually making melodic dubstep, future bass, and I made this song like very dubstep, kind of minimal. Truthfully, just not a lot going on with the production. The drop was like 3 layers. The drum group was like 6 layers and it had performed better than pretty much anything I dropped in the last couple of years. And it taught me that simplicity is key. So since then, I've kind of reeled back that producer instinct to make things complicated because you feel like that means it's better. And I catch myself making drops too complicated. I'm like, okay, delete half of what you got going on here, and that should be the finished track. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So when I made that track, I think that that was the most pivotal moment in just realizing that simplicity is key.
Mm.
And since then, it's affected every track that I've made for the last 8, 10 months since that one came out.
Well, and so how does keeping your authentic sound like what Avello wants to make versus maybe having these trends and these different sounds come about that you see kind of working? How do you mesh them together and keep your authentic sound?
I think you have to trust your gut and trust your taste and not be afraid to embrace certain parts of trends, not chase a trend or not try to make a track just like that one that popped off, but dissect them. What is it about that track that you do like and maybe could pull into your own, the drum pattern, the BPM, the main sound? Is there something there that you could just let influence you? So I think it's like a combination of trusting yourself and your taste and also looking at what's doing really well and what it is that you genuinely like about that you can incorporate into your own sound.
Mm. And so obvious, like everybody's been through failures in the
Hmm.
music industry and a lot of failures and a lot of lessons learned from the failures. What was your biggest failure, I would say, and then that turned into like a beautiful lesson?
Damn, Blake's
Man,
going
you're asking, yeah,
deep.
it's asking some hard-hitting questions right here.
Hey, we're getting deep
Yeah, when
today,
he
all
took the
right?
channel, he was like, I'm gonna go
The
deep,
people want to
like
know.
I'll ask
Yeah,
one after this and we'll dive into the breakdown.
I like it, man. Biggest failure. I would say there's kind of two. Uh, I'll start off with the second one. So about 2 or 3 years ago, I had, I don't know, like a dozen songs stacked up. And I thought that that would let me be consistent and effectively release. What ended up happening is it took a year and a half for every song to come out from the time that it was released. And by the time it was out everywhere, I didn't care about them, right? My sound had evolved so much in that year and a half, and I think that comes through when you're promoting them too. People can tell that you're not genuinely excited. So during that period, I was dropping all these songs that didn't really feel like my style, whether like my skills had advanced or my sound had kind of changed. And I had been listening to them on SoundCloud on private for the last year and a half, almost maybe 2 years for some of them. And that was what I felt like was like a really big lull in my career. Like maybe almost kind of triggered a lull for like 6 months to a year. And since then, I vowed to never do that again, vowed to never have more than like max five, six songs that are finished and ready to go so that I'm never in that position where I'm backed up for a year and a half and hating everything that's coming out. Uh, the other failure was much earlier in my career. I had been producing for like 1 year, and I had just made what I thought was my best song ever. And I was like, damn, this is gonna put me on the map, bro. It sounds like some Millennium shit right here. Can't wait to put this out. I dropped it, and it got like 50 plays on SoundCloud. And I was devastated because I hadn't really like had that experience of pouring days and weeks into a single project. Uh, to me, it was like, okay, it's all about this one song. And that really opened my eyes. And I realized like it's going to take longer than you thought. It's going to be harder than you thought. And it's time to make the next one. And I've carried that with me for this whole time. I think that comes back to what I was saying earlier. The people that I notice find success, they don't cry when their song flops. They go and they make the next one.
Right, right. I think Elaine wanted to pop in and have
Yeah,
one.
I'll ask one since we're on the topic of, production, social media, all of that. I think the landscape has changed of like being an artist and what it takes to make it, right? So
Hmm.
if there was a formula, right, or a percentage or like a pie, how much of the artistry, right, the music piece plays into that versus the marketing, the social media, the team? Like, do you feel
Hmm.
like there is a formula for all the artists that's watching right now?
Yeah, I think it's 50-50. I think you could have a great song, but if you don't get it in front of people, nobody's going to hear it. I also think that you might have a mediocre song, but if you're really good at getting it in front of people, then it might catch some traction. So if you just want to be a musician and you just want to make music, that's fine. Nothing's wrong with that. But if you want to turn it into a career and play shows and be on the stages, then you got to embrace the social media part of it. Every single job has parts of it that has parts of it that you don't like. I would much rather be making TikToks than going to my old 9 to 5, I'll tell you that.
That's true, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's looked down upon a lot because I wasn't in the industry in this period. Obviously, I was like 5, 10 years old. But back in the day, everything was gate kept by labels, by publications, by radio. And now it's all in the palm of our hand, right? You can reach just about everybody in the world with your phone for free. But people are complaining about that, you know? They're mad that, oh, I got to make videos. Well, dude, if you were in the industry 20, 30 years ago, you'd just be mad that you were being gatekept by all the big industry players. So pick your poison. I would much rather be in control and be able to make some videos, get my music out there. Long story short, 50-50. I think they have to go hand in hand if you want to build a career out of it, at least on the performing side.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so let's dive into all of that. I'm gonna pop off camera, but tell us a little bit about the track that you're gonna show us today. Blake will be here just in case, and then we'll dive into all the fun social media stuff before demos.
All right, sounds good. Should I start sharing my screen
Yeah,
right
share
now?
the dot. Uh-huh.
Okay. All right, so what we got here today, this is a re-release of Please Don't Go with Mike Posner. So you can kind of think of it as a remix or kind of think of it as a 2025 version. Basically, the situation is that a subset of Sony Music released the original back in, I think, 2015. But this one here, Mike re-recorded, so he has the rights to that. He does not have the rights to the original. Sony and the label still own that. But you can kind of get around it if you re-record and it's technically like a new cut of the song, kind of like a cover of his own song. So I think Taylor Swift did this when she released all those Taylor versions to get her discography back and re-recorded a bunch of old music. But basically, we did that, but made it a dubstep version. He also released a version with YDG. So if you see both of those on there, it's probably working with the same vocal here. This came about because we have the same agent, and he's just getting Mike into the EDM space, and he's like, dude, your remixes are doing well. You want to see what you can do with this Please Don't Go vocal? So then I cooked up this one, and if you haven't heard it, it's everywhere on all platforms. and I'll just start breaking it down. And Blake, if you feel like there's anything that I'm glossing over or looks interesting and I should go into more detail on, please feel free to interrupt me, all right?
Got you.
All right, we'll start up here. So I'm just gonna play kind of the first half of the song so you can get the gist of it. Can you guys hear that? I hope I didn't just blow anybody's speakers out.
Let's run away from these lives back to yesterday. Safe tonight. I feel the sun creeping up like tick-tock. I'm trying to keep you in my head, but if not, we'll just keep running from tomorrow with our lips locked. Don't go. If I wake up tomorrow, will you still be here? I don't know. The way I do, baby, please don't.
I think that's good enough to start diving in. You guys got an idea of what the full picture sounds like. Thank you for the 3 fire emojis, Eric. Appreciate that. All right, so let's check this out. And keep in mind, what I was saying about trying to keep things simple and fewer layers is better, in my opinion. So right here we got the verse synth group. It's composed of this sustained chord. And what's funny is this is actually the exact same sound from Crystallize by John Summit. I saw a TikTok video on this. Let me see if I can just show you guys real quick because I thought this was crazy. Let me find this little loop real quick. Yeah, there it is. That is the intro to Crystallized. I love finding things like this because anytime that I feel guilty about like using loops or using presets or anything, and when I see one of the big guys do it, it makes me feel like, all right, it's not that serious. We play this song here. I just want to show you guys. It's the same little chord loop there. But what's cool about this one is I've went and found that they also put the Serum preset in this pack. So I went and got that and used it in this song here. I just modified it a little bit. Same sound, but then wrote my own chords with it here.
These lives back to yesterday.
And then got this little Eurodance patch, I guess you'd call it. That's what the pack was. That's what the pack was from anyway. And that filter is opening up each chord, which gives it some movement. If this wasn't opening up, it'd just be pretty stale. But the movement really makes it feel like it's evolving. So what I'm doing these days with my tracks is I'm working a lot at house tempos. Like you can see this one's 120. A lot of what I'm doing is 130 or 135. So really slow for bass music. But I'm incorporating these house sounds. So that's like a very kind of trance rhythm, trance style sound, but then it goes into a halftime drop. So I'm just exploring those two genres, especially with progressive house. I just wrote this track yesterday, and it's like this full progressive house intro, sounds like straight out of 2015, but then goes into a bass drop, kind of like my Destiny remix, if anybody's familiar. And then got a respace here, and then some atmospheres. So all together.
I feel the sun creeping up like tick-tock. I'm trying to keep you in my head, but...
And And a few effects just scattered throughout, some impacts, some little cymbal transitions, little vocal shots in the background.
Tonight, I feel the sun creeping up like tick.
And then here I'm teasing that drop sound, filtering in a little bit. And then I have it filtering in as well here. Much drier version, along with the bass.
Running from tomorrow with our lips locked.
And then we got the drums here, just little kick. So it sounds kind of housey at first, like it's going in a house direction, and then it turns into the build.
Keep you in my head, but if not, we'll
A
just
couple
keep running
rises.
from tomorrow with our lips locked. Yeah.
If anybody's sitting here looking at this project file thinking this is annoyingly simple, yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. That's how I feel too. My instinct for this one too was to like make it more complicated. And I was like, dude, just cut the fat out of the song. Like, you don't need all those background elements. If you can't hear it, delete it. You don't need a little transitional element at every single section. Make things flow with automation and just the songwriting of it. So yeah, it is annoyingly simple.
Please don't go. If I wake up tomorrow.
Vocal here, just have like kind of a vocal fat rack, beefing it up a little bit with the drop. Got the drop chord. So it's playing that same pattern from the intro, but on a different sound. And then a little saw patch layer. And on most of these, my group process or my track processing is really simple. I'm just usually fat racking and EQing, maybe saturating. I'm focusing more on finding or making a good sound out the gate and then just kind of making it full and making it fit the track. I'm not one to have an infinite processing chain. I'd rather go back to the early stages of the sound selection and fix the problem there. There's that main bass, and then just like a wide kind of Reese bass underneath it, and the sub, and some white noise. We got these yoys halfway through.
Don't go. Please don't go.
Art comes
Please don't.
in, and that dancey kind of synth jumps up an octave, adds energy, and then something fresh is happening in the next 8 bars. Usually I try to keep it very simple. If I have that first 8 bar section of the drop, to make it feel like it's progressing, you can just make your chords jump an octave, make your lead jump an octave, or you add in an arp like this, or add in hats. You don't really have to reinvent the wheel in the second half. Just there's little tricks you can do in just about every track that keep the energy going. And then on my group, I have some low cut automation. So at certain points, I'm sweeping the low end out of the track at certain transitional spots and adding some reverb, kind of washing it out. And then heavy glue compression, soft clipping, and I'm doing my side chain with a utility. Now, here's my short little spiel on that. There's no wrong way to do sidechain. Million ways to skin a cat and just about everything when it comes to music production. Some people like compressors, some people like plugins. I just like it to do it this way because I think it's really convenient how I can see the curve and I can just scroll down and see the waveform shape of my kick. And I can very easily visually match it to that waveform. There's no tweaking and attack or release of that compressor. I know that it's going all the way down to 0. Another convenient thing about this is some people like to do a different sidechain for their snare, their clap. You could do the very same automation lane, but a different shape for it there. You could also add in sidechain during the build by copying this over, but maybe you make it not as deep. And then this is a little bit science, a little bit bro science, but I have to believe that a simple volume automation is gonna have less latency than like a compressor reacting to a ghost trigger, right? Because it's on a computer, but these things still aren't perfect. That compressor has to receive that input signal and then take action. Volume automation, very easy for the computer to do, very simple. Again, I know that there's things like look ahead on those sidechain plugins, but honestly, I'm just like, don't want to mess with all that. I'd rather just keep it simple. And then when I'm collaborating, I know that everybody has utility and I don't have to deal with plugin incompatibility or switching up our compression, our sidechain compression method. But anyway, that's my spiel on utility sidechain, so I don't look insane because I used to use a compressor and my friend put me onto this method and I thought he was out of his mind because it looks tedious. But really, you do it once after you get your drum pattern, and you don't got to mess with it again. Okay, moving on here, let's check out the drums. Kick, clap, trap snares, crashes, glass break, ride, little fills. Add in the classic cashmere trap hats. And then there's just some compression. Excuse me, like I said, I just had that burrito for dinner. There's some compression and some saturation with this little rack here on that entire group. Just gluing things together without that rack. With it, hats are more present. Kick and the clap feel a little bit more balanced and controlled. I'm not one to layer up a bunch of kicks. I think that that's usually a way to muddy up your drums, is doing a lot of layering. If you want to layer like one or two snares, like a clap and a snare tail or something, I think that's a good idea. But once you find yourself taking the transient from one kick, the body of another, I'm always like, dude, there's a million kicks out there. Just go spend 5 minutes and find one that works well for the track instead of running into some like potential mix issues trying to Frankenstein one together. So that's my advice on that front. Then I just have some little hats going. I'm reintroducing those little vocal chops. So when I'm working on these drops, I'm always trying to find callbacks to the verse. I think that helps tie things together and make it feel more cohesive. So bringing those back in the second half, another way to add a little bit of variation. Keep the arp going, verse synths come in. When I'm working on my arrangements like this, I'm always kind of thinking of what sound can I take from the last 8 bars and bring it into this 8 bars? And what sound can I take from the upcoming 8 bars and bring it into this 8 bars? So that things are always kind of overlapping. There's never like a sudden stop and then the sounds completely change. So in this case, kept that arp going. So this cool down section feels like an extension of the drop and not like a complete dead loss of energy. Keep those drop drums going. I feel the sun creeping up like tick. And then we go right back into the build there. No breaks. That's another thing that I'm focusing on lately is try to have very little downtime. If your song takes like 45 seconds for drums to kick in, I just think that it's not going to perform well on the dance floor. And if that's what you feel, artistically inclined to do, be my guest. But I'm trying to make something that I think would be great in a set, great at a show. I want to keep people dancing. So once the drums start, almost rarely do they stop, or at least that's my goal. So in this second version, I have the build fully extended. I have some slaps here too. And then the kick comes in. Little fake out. I'm keeping my chords going. And rebuilding it here. And a little switch. So it's really straight, really kind of simple. Like just had the fake out, which is baked into my full 16-bar drop arrangement. I'm not adding an extra couple bars here and then doing a 16-bar drop. It's built into the arrangement. And this is the same sound as the main sustain, but it just has a quarter note filter on it. Just to give it a little bit more movement. and then some impacts on the outro. And on my master, I have a limiter. I've kind of been not using this that much lately, but I use the rest of the rack. I've used it for like the last 4 or 5 years. It's a little rack I got from Whole Loops for like 15 bucks. And I've turned some things off in it over the years, but the main things that it's got going on is mid-side EQ, multiband, saturation, and then I'm just sending that into a hard clipper. So one of the most interesting things about, I would say, dubstep mastering or at least dance music mastering is I think people are really afraid to clip their songs, and it's not a bad thing. So if I turn off this clipper, I want you guys to look at what the master is peaking at without the final clipper keeping it at zero, but just what it's peaking at right here. It's ridiculous.
Got me begging, baby, please don't go. If I wake up tomorrow, will you still be here? I don't.
We're 8, 9, almost 10 dBs over zero at some points, but then that clipper just chops it all off.
If I wake up tomorrow.
So when I'm doing my mastering, I'll turn this gain knob in the utility up into the clipper until things just sound really bad. Then I'll back it off and find that point where, okay, it's loud, but it's not distorted. I probably could have even pushed that to like 12. And it still sounds decent. But you got to remember, you're sacrificing dynamics for the volume. Let's see what this is hitting right here.
Got me begging, baby, please don't go. If I wake up tomorrow, will you still be here? I don't know.
If I try to really crank it, I could probably hit like 2 there while it's still decently clean. But I think that that's like the thing nobody's talking about. Everybody's wondering how to get their tracks loud and why things aren't stacking up. You know, you play a DJ set and you got so and so song on this side, someone else's song on this side, and your song's in the middle. The master just isn't stacking up. And I think that the trick to it is just really don't be afraid to clip it and crush it and go into the red and then chop that all off with a clipper. So that's how I master pretty much all of my tracks. Keep in mind, it's going to be different for each genre. Bass music, big emphasis on the volume and not so much the dynamics. But like house music and drum and bass, you might not want to crank things this hard. So that's the track. Blake, what do you think? Anything else I need to dive deeper on or any questions?
A couple. Well, first, as a vocalist, I would love to see your vocal chain on. There was actually some really interesting, like right before the drop,
Hmm.
it had like a widening thing or something on it that sounded cool.
Right here in the pre-drop.
Yeah.
Please don't go.
There's nothing on that. Are you talking about?
I think it's the
Oh, the second
second
one.
drop.
Dude, it's probably just this reverb that's washing everything out in the drop group. So this is automating up here to create some space. And then when the drop comes in, it goes completely dry and everything feels that much more in your face. So that reverb is automating up.
If I wake up tomorrow, will you still be here? I don't feel the way I.
Nice.
Is
And
that
then
is that what
what
you're hearing?
about yeah, yeah, I think that was it. What about just in general your chain on your vocals?
There's really nothing on this one. I outsourced the vocal production on this track. I think I had 9 days from the time that I got the vocal to when I had to have the final delivered if I wanted it to be released. So, and I was also on the road during that time. So it was like I had to produce the entire track. The vocal needed some work. I have a guy that I had worked with before in some vocal processing, but I outsourced that part of it. I
Hmm.
really don't have a lot of experience working with vocals from like a completely raw, like freshly recorded phase, right?
Okay.
Because I've done a lot of remixes. Up until recently, I've worked with a lot of splice vocals. I have done some vocal processing, from the raw stage, but it's never anything crazy. It's just saturation, OTT, some EQ, some de-essing. I don't have really any third-party plugins. These are all the third-party plugins that I have, and I think most of these are free. There's Serum, which you got to pay for, of course, Portal, and then this little $20 piano, and then this was a sidechain plugin that I had to get for a collab, but Everything else is like the free versions of these plugins. So
Nice.
I wish I could put you in touch with my guy. I can't really answer the question of what's everything on the vocal chain, but sometimes things like that, some vocal processing, some mixing, some mastering, it just makes more sense to outsource that when you're on a
100%.
tight timeline.
I am curious about the lead in that drop. If you'd be down to open up the C.
Yeah. Yeah, let's check it out. This one right here.
Yes.
Yeah. Saw wave, JNO, and then I think the real fun is just adding seven semitones up, so it's playing a fifth. Then you get some cool variations. Instead of things just being one octave up or something, it kind of makes it like a chord, because it's playing the
Right.
fifth along with it, and that's what makes it feel like a bass, but also kind of melodic. And that's it. Loki got to save that one. Hold on. But that's what I'll do, start up with something like that. A lot of the basses that I make are usually built around like one basic shape. The basic shape oscillator is almost always going to carry like the power, whether it's a sine wave, a saw wave, or a square, and then having some sort of more interesting wavetable on top of that. And then when you combine those things through distortion, that's when the results get really interesting. Without the distortion, with the distortion, because it's kind of crunching it into one sound. So that's kind of a simplified version of sound design, and then everything else is just like little cherry on top, hyperdimension is a little width, reverb, a little space. We all know about multiband compression here, but sound design doesn't have to be scary when you just break it down like, okay, let's focus on the basic things. All right, multiband compression, hyper, distortion are kind of almost always going to be the go-to three effects for a big bass. And then try to have one basic shape or something similar wavetable, and then play around with some more interesting, crunchy wavetables on top of that, and put them an octave up, add the semitones, and that is basically my approach to bass design. And I made this one. I was trying to recreate the wub from Just a Mirage and Enzo's song, just messing around, and then accidentally stumbled across this sound, and then it's been a go-to for me.
Hell yeah. So when it hits and the layers basically are that lead, and then you have that other one that you were showing earlier. Like
Yeah.
what would be the stack that you have to get that kind of wall of sound?
Let me just set this back to what it was originally. So like all the layers, break them down. Is that what you're saying?
Or yeah, kind of just like yeah, that initial hit. I'm just curious.
Okay, yeah. So this one, chord, that tonal bass, that Reese bass, white noise, sub. That's it. I think a lot of YouTube videos, when you're doing like melodic dubstep or future bass, they tell you stack five super saws, stack five basses, stack
Right.
five leads. And I just think that that's bad advice. I think you're much better off with just one or two of the right layers. Instead, people kind of try to like throw things in there, throw more layers in hopes that they'll fill in the weaknesses of the layers they already have. And what ends up happening is things just feel kind of muddy and cluttered. So when I was saying I really am more focused on like the simplicity, keeping things both like the processing and the layering as simple as possible and just focusing on like good quality sounds that all have a very specific job. This is what I'm talking about. None of these things are clashing with each other because of just simple EQ, and they all have a very specific job. There's not three of these all playing this rhythm. There's not four super saws. There's not five mid basses here. It's all just one layer for like each type of sound, and then just fat racking it and gluing them all together so that they're full. And I think that's kind of like the secret to keeping things very full, but also clean and spacious.
Yeah, no, I love the simplistic view on that because yeah, it's like you're just like stacking all these kicks and all these sounds, but everything having like a purpose makes so much more sense, and then it even feels like cleaner and it feels
Yeah,
lighter, but it hits just the same. So
yeah.
no, I think that's genius.
And then you can make things a lot louder too because you have fewer layers that are all eating up headroom. So it
Right.
makes the mixing and mastering a lot easier as well.
Well, thank you so much for breaking your track down. That was
Yeah,
amazing. Um,
yeah.
would love to pop into the next segment, which is going to be kind of the social media breakdown. If you could go ahead, stop sharing your screen if you want.
Okay.
But
There was one question here just about the sub. The sub is just has sidechain on it. This is just an 808 style patch straight out of Serum that I bounced to audio. What I like about this type of sub is it's a nice balance between just like a simple sine wave, which doesn't have a lot of high-end information, but also a normal 808, which are usually very loud in the high end and take up a lot of headroom. So this particular patch is just like a nice cross, but here's what it sounds like. So you can make something similar. It's got just enough of that tonality, or not tonality, but like kind of sizzle white noise on it that it feels warm and shows up on smaller speakers, but it's not dominating your headroom like like most 808s are. Okay, social media.
awesome, yes. So I mean, I have a bunch of questions I could dive into, but maybe we could just kind of start off with the basics of, I mean, well, not basics, maybe like a mini masterclass in how much you could cram in of like kind of the do's and don'ts.
Okay. I think the overall advice that I would give to somebody is just be yourself on there. People can really tell. They can smell inauthenticity through the screen. Trying to force a brand or force a personality or force content that's just not you. I think it's very easy to see through that. So don't be afraid to be yourself. I mean, you make friends in real life all the time. Just try to think of people on Instagram as like just more friends to be made. You don't gotta try to play this cool, mysterious artist because that's what people you look up to do. Get on there, be yourself, and I think that the right people will resonate with that.
And so how much like authenticity you mentioned.
Hmm.
Um, I feel like trends are something that you kind of have to figure out in your own way, but also be authentic to yourself, just kind of like the
Yeah.
music. Did you ever like dabble in trying to do something that like you're like, oh, this might work, and then you're like, nah, and you kind of like justified it, but you're like, yeah, I just got to stay authentic. Like you tried to chase a trend or something, or did you ever have any trial and error with doing that?
Yeah, there's trial and error with it every single day. Every single day. But I think that trying new things on there is what really is going to make you stand out because there's no like social media strategy or content style that's going to be successful forever. Some people will catch waves, they'll have a good 3 months, good 6 months on there, but then they don't adapt, and eventually the algorithm and the viewers move on. So as far as trial and error goes, I think I'm doing that every day. I'm not afraid to post something crazy because maybe that'll be the one that hits. I'll just give you an example right here. This little AI bear has been going viral. I think it's AI, I don't know, because it doesn't look like a real animal. But I saved the video and just posted this and put my song on top of it. And most people probably think that I'm crazy for posting this on like my main feed of my artist page. But this video got 230,000 views and I posted it on like Sunday. So little stupid things like that. It's just almost annoyingly obvious to take this silly bear and like put some text on the screen and put your song on top of it. But those things work. It's just, I feel like some of those things, it's like, it's almost just, it's right in front of you. It feels too easy. You know what I'm saying? People think they got to have some high quality studio edited piece of
Right.
content video. And sometimes social media, people are on there for entertainment at the end of the day. They're on there for something funny, something they can relate to, some kind of dopamine trigger. They're not on there looking for music. They're on there looking for dopamine. So find ways to give them that.
Wow, bars. Yeah, I feel like we tend to overthink a lot of the time. Like, oh, we got to get the perfect thing with the lighting and the studio edit and some crazy thing when it's you just posted a bear and like just like did really well. So that's incredible. If you were to lose your account tomorrow, how would you go about re blowing it back up?
Hmm. Never thought about that. It's a good question. I would probably post every single day, guys, my account got deleted. Please follow me again on this one. But I'd probably make like the POV content and the skit content and not try to force my music. I would try to keep things very general. There's this dude on Instagram, you guys should follow him. He goes by Rough Music, RUFF Music Official. And he's got the best content advice. He's always breaking down brands and giving strategies, but he talks a lot about the content funnel. So there's the top of the funnel, the middle of the funnel, the bottom of the funnel. Imagine this funnel here, and at the bottom of it is your music. So top of the funnel, that is content like that bear. Stuff that will get on the For You page. Might not even be about your music. It might just be like something relatable that gets your face or your profile on the Explore page so people can find you. So it's discovery content. The middle of the funnel is care about me content, right? So that's when you start telling stories, right? So they found your page through something that went viral, maybe, and now they're getting to know you. So that's usually like talking videos or maybe funny videos. They found your page, now they're getting to know your personality, right? They're getting to care about you. And then the bottom of the funnel, that's where you say, my song's out now, go listen to it. The problem with 99% of people right now is that they skip straight to the bottom of the funnel and they say, my song's out, go listen to it. So they're all still screaming at the same like 3,000 followers because they don't have any kind of content that is funneling new people in. So that's not very specific on what I would do if I lost my Instagram tomorrow, but that is the strategy that I would keep in mind.
I love it. How many drafts, I'm curious, like die in your phone a week? Are you like making a ton of different stuff and or do you kind of just have a vision, you get it and you put it out?
Yeah, I usually film it at the video right there on the spot. Those ones where I'm sitting at my desk or standing in the living room, I worked on music that morning, taking a break. I film the video right there, sit on the couch, edit it on my phone, and post it on the spot. I don't have things like stacked up in my archive, so I have 7 days of content planned out or anything. That's a luxury that I have 'cause I'm doing this full time. If you have a full-time job and you can't just walk away from your desk and start filming a video, then it's really good to have things planned out and ready to go. So I'd say my case isn't like what most people are dealing with. I would film content and I'd also film stuff that you could very easily reformat. So like B-roll type shots, you at your studio desk, you in your car, you at a festival even. Not everything has to be planned and scripted because you'll get an idea one day or a trend will pop up. Oh, everybody's just posting a video of them with this style of text on the screen at a festival. Good thing I got a bunch of videos at my desk or at a festival, that sort of thing, just having something to work with. And I also think not trying to keep it perfect. I think when you try to keep it perfect, people see that and it scares them away. I think that the first shot or maybe like the second take is always the best because you're not a robot yet, especially if you're talking. If you're talking to the camera, just post the first one. I don't care if you like tripped over your words. The second you try to like say it 2 or 3 times, you're following a script and you look robotic, and it's like just get on there and just be natural and be conversational, like you're on FaceTime with your friend and not like you're making a public service announcement about some dire situation. So that comes back to the be authentic thing as well.
Mm, genius. Yeah, I definitely have spent many times even downloading an app where the text will follow the screen and it looks like I'm looking at the camera, but yeah, I get that the robotic feeling and just being authentic. But since you do post kind of like you just have an idea and you post it, I'd have to assume that not every post like does extremely well. Sometimes you have some stuff that does decent, and I know even from personal experience, like I used to get X amount of likes, and then I was like starting to get consistent, more posting more stuff, and then the likes kind of started to tank. And like, how do you deal with bad performing posts without it affecting like your confidence?
Comes back to the mental game. I think you got to look inward and just not be afraid to keep trucking and also reframe it so you're not just looking to blow up off like one specific post, right? These are all building blocks. These are all building blocks so that eventually you'll get to that few posts that start to gain traction. Ed Sheeran talked about something similar, like you got to get through the shitty songs. You still got to sit down and write them, and eventually you'll get to the good one. It's the same thing with posting. Like you got to make the posts. You can't just sit down and like picture your what your content style is going to be. People all the time paralyze themselves. I've watched it happen to the best producers. They paralyze themselves for years because they don't know what their content style is going to be or like maybe what sound they're going to fall into. Those things, you just have to do them. You just have to post 100 videos and look back and see what your content style turned out to be instead of sitting there and picturing it, right? And also another thing, I think people don't try long enough. A lot of people I think will post for 7 days in a row and then they don't blow up and they say, screw that, it's rigged. If you haven't posted 100 videos in the span of like, I don't know, 150 days, then you haven't even crossed the threshold of trying. And at that 100 video mark, that's when you analyze like what's really working and what could I double down on. But you got to look at the bigger picture of this whole thing and not the success of that video because you can literally hit upload an infinite amount of times. It's not like you got one shot at this. So take it as data and see how you can improve the next one.
Yeah.
And it's just a mental thing, man. I mean, it's you can't really teach it. I can explain
Yeah.
ways to reframe it, but you got to like look at yourself in the mirror, and just tell yourself you're not going to give up, you're not going to let it get to you, and it's just post that video, don't look at it, plan the next one.
Yeah, the mental game is a huge thing. Curious about like your the arc of kind of I remember back when you would post the USB ones or like
Hell
the
yeah.
the paralysis demon in the corner was like, "Hey bro, like can you play my song?" Or like I remember those. I was like okay, they're starting to pop up on my feed more.
Mhm.
What I'm curious was that's kind of when I started noticing your page a lot more. What were you doing before then? Or was there like an arc that you hit something or something like had some success and you're like, "Oh, this shit is like actually working. I'm gonna like double, triple, quadruple down on this."
Yeah, so I got really lucky. This was spring of 2021. Got really lucky because one of my very first TikToks popped off. Well, I mean, popped off. It got like 40,000 views, which to me, I was like, holy shit, this is insane. Um, and it gave me a lot of fire, realizing that it did work. But I was just doing this series, like sharing my music every day, day one, share my music every day, day two, and that day two video popped off. And then I just started hammering TikTok with that particular song. This song, it's called Balance. It's out right now, but at that point, it had already been out for 2 years and it's had at 500 streams on Spotify for 2 years. Two or three TikToks in that very early period of my TikTok popped it off, and it went very quickly to like 25,000 plays, 50,000 plays, 100,000 plays. It's now at like 500,000. And that also showed me that there's not a real shelf life on some of these things, right? That song had been out for 2 years at 500 plays, and now it's at 100,000 off some TikToks. It taught me that the immediate success of the songs wasn't going to define their ultimate success. And it also taught me that posting videos really can affect is like real. Like it can change your career and get eyes on your music. So I was posting those videos on TikTok. I started filming a lot of the funny stuff on TikTok. I had like no TikTok followers, so I wasn't afraid to be myself on there. And I think at this time, like 2021, people were still trying to be like very cool and mysterious if you were an artist on Instagram. So I didn't want to like jack that up because I was trying to have that vibe like everybody else, pictures outside at nighttime with some grainy filter on them. Nobody cared. So I was posting all these silly videos on TikTok, like the POVs, the USB ones, the sleep paralysis ones. They were doing okay. And then maybe 6 months later, even a year later, I remember talking to my manager and I was like, dude, these all did good on TikTok. I kind of just want to put them on Instagram. I don't care if it's cringe. And he said, bro, screw it. Just do that. So I just downloaded them all off TikTok, with a little TikTok saver, started posting them. And for a month and a half straight, I was just reposting old videos and like occasionally filming a new one. Every single one of those POVs hit like 100K on Instagram. And that's probably the era that you're thinking of. So just recycling that old content and it was hitting on Instagram. And I was like, holy crap, dude, I wish I started doing this earlier. And that's kind of how I got like the first 10K to the 10K mark was just doing funny stuff like that or recycling old content. That particular sleep paralysis demon video, I think I posted that on Instagram 5 different times. Every 3 months, I just repost it, and it would get 2 million views, 3 million views, 4 million views each time. Finally, I posted it once and the same video got 30,000 views. And I was like, all right, that one can be retired. But when
Yeah.
you have a piece of content like that, just milk the hell out of it, whether it be like the exact video or just refilming that format. Fast forward, to the No Broke Boys remix popping off. I was basically filming like the same video every day for a month and a half promoting that remix. I was playing 7 seconds of it, filming it either at my desk or in the living room, and just putting some kind of different hook on it or like some milestone of streams that it hit or some bigger artist that DM me and asked for it. But basically, not reinventing the wheel. Once you find something that works, milk the hell out of it. And I have already forgotten what your first question was, but I hope that answered it.
No, I think that was it. I think that was it. No, it's crazy how what started getting you the traction was posting the stuff on TikTok that you were like shamelessly posting, and then you were like, you know what? I'm gonna just do it on Instagram, and then it started gaining traction. Like it goes back to that just being in your head about
Yeah.
being too cool for social media and trying to like be this DJ, and you're just like, dude, like people are gonna watch your stuff for 3 to 7 seconds and move on with their life. And like,
Yeah.
so it's I feel like we get in our head thinking it's a bigger thing than it is. But that's
Yeah.
that's like really insightful. So I appreciate that. I know we have
Yeah.
we have a couple of questions in the chat before we go to the demo listening portion, but we have
There's one more kind of thing I want to leave you guys with too.
absolutely.
If you feel bad that nobody saw your video, the other side of that coin is nobody saw your video, you know? So who gives a shit? Nobody saw it. Oh, it's not that bad. Damn, it only got 100 views. Oh, I mean, only got 100 views. Like no big deal. Just go post the next one. It's like there's no sense of embarrassment.
Mm,
There's no audience sitting there watching your Instagram pointing and laughing at you if something does bad. People just literally don't even see it and don't even know. So just get those posts out there, and try to let go of that feeling.
that's game. That's game right there for sure. We have a question going by funnel example. How do you promote your music? Is it just posting content on Instagram till one gets traction? I think we already kind of.
So when I'm dropping a song, I almost always start promoting it like 3 days out. Let's say, for example, song's coming out on Friday. Monday, I'm usually like teasing a screen recording on my story and using like a lay low funnel. So people respond to the keyword, they sign up for the Laylo, and then I can notify them when the song is out. And I notify everybody in the Laylo blast too, but that gives people like something to engage with on the story and get a kind of a hint that something new is coming. Then the first video that I usually post is like a selfie video with the song, and almost always hooking it, at least for these remixes, like X, but for the bass heads. Like No Broke Boys, but for the bass heads, Electric Love, but for the bass heads. And from there, hopefully you get some kind of social proof. So the next video is either like, at the very least, responding to somebody's hype comment, or maybe a bigger artist DM'd you and asked for it. Like I'll put that on the screen. That'll be my next video. And then after that, just trying to keep getting those like social proof examples. I think that's the best right now because if you're a new artist, people don't trust you yet. So they don't want to waste their time watching that video if it's going to be bad. But if a bigger artist has commented on the song or something, put that out there because they don't have to trust you. They just have to trust that bigger artist tastes, their taste, right? And then give you a chance. So now you got your shot. Now there better be a damn dopamine reward at the end of that video, or people are gonna not trust you and they're never going to watch your video in the full length again, or you got a good dopamine hit and now you got somebody who's going to watch your next video. And if that video was successful, they're going to watch the next one. And now you got somebody who's consistently engaging with your content, right? So I think when you break it down into like people just are on there for dopamine, and the reason that these videos flop is because your audience doesn't trust you. And they don't trust you because you're not fulfilling their dopamine and making their 10 seconds of watching your video valuable. So all that being said, I'm posting these videos. I'm trying to get social proof coming into my inbox so that I can turn that into more content. And I'm keeping all the videos super short, like 10 seconds. You do not have to show your build. Everybody knows what a build sounds like. You don't have to show more than like 5 seconds of your drop. People are either going to like it or dislike it in that 5 seconds. And if they like it, you want them to go listen to the full thing on the streaming platform, not just rewatch the video. So I'm teasing the song on Monday, posting a video on Tuesday, posting a video on Wednesday, posting a video on Thursday. Song is out. And then I'm basically doing all those same things But instead of saying like it's out, it's gonna be out, I'm just now saying it's out now. And then I'm just keeping those videos going. And if you have access to trial reels, you have a cheat code. Because Instagram trial reels, you can post on there an infinite amount of times. It won't show up on your feed. It won't show to your followers. It'll only show to new followers. So I might post 4 videos in a day on trial reels that nobody that follows me will ever see. That reaches a whole slew of new people. And you can recycle content on there. You can um, repost videos that have already maybe done well on TikTok, on trial reels without annoying your current followers. So that's kind of a broad overview of like the marketing rollout that I'm doing. The key takeaways I would say are do not tease a song for weeks. Nobody wants to get teased for weeks. Keep it 10 seconds long and try to look like you're authentically enjoying that track in the video. You're not selling it to somebody. You're inviting them in to enjoy it with you.
Mm. Um, we have a question from Kyle. Is does posting at a certain time of day work better for you, or just post when you have the idea, no matter what time?
I try to shoot for like 10:30 to 11:30 a.m. I don't know if that does better or if it's just like my voodoo, like my superstition, right, about it. But I do think that people are just kind of like, they're just kind of waking up on the West Coast, they're on lunch break on the East Coast, and they're probably scrolling on their phone. I just don't think that nighttime is very effective. I would avoid posting late. I would say either in the afternoon, like 3, 4 o'clock, or try to keep it in the morning, 10. And keep in mind, I'm on the East Coast. So when I say these times, I'm thinking East Coast times. But yeah, I do think timing can be important, at least on Instagram.
And you also, to jump back, actually, I had a question about the trial reel. Do
Mhm.
you, I know you can like repurpose content. Do you have to change like the hook or something about it, or it could be literally the exact same piece of content? You could post that 50 times.
So only until recently do you have to start changing things up. So during this like big period of growth that I had, I was at the exact same time, uploading my video, writing my caption, posting on the main, going to my camera roll, uploading the video, writing the caption, putting it on trial reels, copy paste, both posts exactly the same. And Instagram would send one post to my followers and would send one post to my non-followers. Recently, they started getting good at scanning it because they don't want you to use it for that. So you might get a notification, oops, it looks like you've already posted this content before. Because of that, you can't, this won't be pushed out to people. So now you do have to change things up. I'm still testing the waters for like what that threshold is. Like I found you can use some of the same videos if you edit them differently or you add different text, that sort of thing. So long story short, what I was doing was I was posting the exact same video. What we have to do now, we're still trying to figure out what you can get away with as far as posting the exact same video on both platforms. But the good news is you can sit there and film 4 videos that are never going to go on your main page and just slam those on trial reels.
Right. Also, so the trial reels on Instagram, you mentioned about TikTok. Do you post on YouTube Shorts or like LinkedIn Shorts or Facebook or Snapchat?
Yes, Facebook. I dabbled in Snapchat. I didn't find it to be like super beneficial. Sometimes I do YouTube Shorts. The only reason that I don't do like everything is just because it's tedious. I'm sure there are platforms out there that like will do them all at once for you, maybe. I don't use that, but it's just tedious. I'll sometimes post on YouTube, but really just TikTok and Instagram. And there was something else there that I was going to answer. What was the first half of that question?
About it was just saying that the trial reels and TikTok, and I was just curious, different social platforms that you've done it on, like LinkedIn or um, yeah, seeing your
Oh, yeah. What I was going to say. Okay, so there's an option on Instagram if you want your reel to be pushed to Facebook as an Instagram post, like, hey, go to Instagram to view the reel, or if you want it to be uploaded separately on Facebook. For the longest time, I was having it just go on Instagram and being like suggested on Facebook because some stupid video told me that that'll get you more views on Instagram. I turned that off, and a month later, I checked my Facebook followers, and I had gone from 5K Facebook followers to over 20K Facebook followers
Mm.
because all these videos were popping off and I had no idea because I didn't go on Facebook. But I would definitely like turn that on so you're posting to Facebook and posting separately to Instagram is two different things.
Right. I feel like they recently, with some update, just turned it on for me. I like started seeing mine pop up on Facebook, and I was like, "Oh wow, okay." And now I'm back on Facebook. But
Yeah.
uh, yeah, were you gonna say something?
I was just gonna say when you're doing that, make sure that it's not like showing a suggested post and that it's actually like its own post. Like it's got its own like count, its own
Ah,
comments that are racking up. You know what I'm saying?
okay, okay. I'll check and see if there's like a different thing you can click.
Yeah, there's because there's a setting for it between the difference between the two. And some videos will get, I don't know, 5K views on Instagram, but then like 50K views on Facebook just because for whatever reason it hits a different demographic. I don't know if it's an age thing or like the humor of people on there in some cases, but that just happens to do well. People like to hate more on Facebook too. So if you can rage bait on Facebook, then you're golden.
I'm curious, do you see any revenue income from um, social media on the platforms, or like how does that work?
No, Instagram had a creator fund a long time ago. Like when I was posting those funny videos you were talking about, the most I ever made from that was like 500 bucks 1 month. Like when I think that particular sleep paralysis video, and like maybe one other one I posted on Instagram. But now the Instagram fund is like I get an email notification. Instagram has paid you, and it's like $6.92. Why even
Woo!
wasting my time? Yeah, so no, but TikTok, I've been told that TikTok is pretty good, but the problem with that I believe you have to have like your videos have to be like a minute or longer to be monetizing. And none
Mm,
of my videos
right,
are ever that long. So
right,
I haven't even worried about it.
right. The 5 to 7 second thing that you were
Yeah.
mentioning earlier is kind of
Hmm.
your wheelhouse or
Hmm.
your bread and butter. But let me hop into it. I just had a slew of questions that kind of came in my brain.
Okay.
But let's hop back over to let's do like two more questions and then we'll get on to demos. Um, we have what's your process for coming up with ideas? Do you have a routine or certain things that you use for inspo? I think you briefly kind of went over that.
Yeah, for like social media.
Kind of like just finding you said the bear was popping off, so you
Yeah.
purpose that, and then just putting the phone up and just kind of off the dome, just like dancing, and then putting a little hook at the beginning of the video, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And if you see something, that you can be that can be reformatted like that bear, try to reformat things. Even if it's just like you put your song over the video. And maybe the hook is like loosely related to music, but all right, maybe people are gonna hear that and they'll engage with it. That No Broke Boys remix originally popped off because my roommate he makes visuals for like Crank That, for Excision, for Ray Volpe, for Sullivan King, and he makes me these squirtles, and this squirtle like going to that song blew up on TikTok, and that's what originally kicked off that song popping.
Mm. Yeah, the Squirtle one. I remember
Yeah.
that one for sure. Those videos are sick.
Thanks, bro. I'll pass that along to him.
Yeah, no, they really like capture the song quite nicely, and it just cohesively goes with it for sure. And then
Yeah.
the Pikachu one, I think for Electric Love,
Yes.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
those were tight. I was like on AI trying to figure that shit out. I was like, how do we do some shit like that? That's crazy. But
Yeah.
you had like a person that like a graphics designer or like a an animator or someone do that
Yeah.
video for you, or did he
Yeah,
reach
you
out to you, or
it's my roommate.
that's your roommate?
So yeah,
Wow.
I'm like, bro, can you please make me a Pikachu today?
That's sick.
But he goes by Cole.3D on Instagram. You guys have probably seen his stuff. If you've seen Crank That's Kirby visual or Crank That's Dancing Rats or Crank That's Baby Yoda one, he's made all of those. He just did a bunch of Ray Volpe stuff, bunch of Sullivan King stuff, and he's worked on just about every dubstep artist in the industry. But yeah, you can definitely hit him up for your visuals if you're looking for something fun for social media.
Hell yes. And then here I'll do one more question. This isn't related to the social media, but I kind of wanted to talk about it because I did see a video of yours pop up about making revenue in the music
Hmm.
industry, and like kind of you talked about, hey, I'm just going all in, and like you
Yeah.
did it, and like you figured it out, and like it just took that like, oh hey, I saved up enough money to just go all in, or what? Re-explain it. I'm like messing this
Okay.
up, but
So I was working a 9 to 5 for about a year and a half, and I mean, all I wanted to do was music. And I just had this feeling in my gut that it was time to go all in on it. But I set myself up so that I could make an exit and be successful. Don't just go quit your job tomorrow because Avello told you that you got to go all in on it, right? I was teaching online for about 6 months. I had launched a Patreon. At the time, both of those things were not making me very much money. I was teaching 3 to 4 hours a week, and then my Patreon was at, I don't know, like maybe $300 worth of subscribers a month. But the only thing stopping me from scaling both of those was the time that I had to dedicate to it. So I had the infrastructure for these things in place. I had figured out how to do them and be consistent with them and be successful with it. I just had to be able to open up more slots, post more on Patreon, advertise more on Patreon, these sorts of things. And at the same time, my social media was really starting to grow from these Squirtle videos. I had gone from like 14K to like maybe close to 20K in about a month or two. I had the remix that I did of the Jigget song, Tell You Straight, had really popped off on SoundCloud. And all those things combined, I was just like, all right, it's time to get out of here. It's time to go all in. I could feel it in my gut that I had set myself up to make this possible. Regardless of like any kind of music popping off and performing, I had a way to sustain myself if I had just had the time to dedicate to it, right? So I quit the day job, started going all in on that, and about a month in is when I made the No Broke Boys remix, and then that just basically trickled down to everything. It made lesson bookings coming in, it made Patreon grow, let alone the shows that were coming in off of that, and then how much things have snowballed since then. That being said, I think that it's very scary and also feels like almost impossible when you're at a 9 to 5, like to escape it. But if you put in perspective how much money you really need per month, and a lot of people haven't done this. They haven't sat down with an Excel spreadsheet and really calculated like what they need to live and what they're actually spending, right? But that's the first step. Figure out how much money you need every month just to like keep a roof over your head and keep your bills paid, and then look at what you're actually spending on average. Get those things as close together as you can, and hopefully you're in a position where you can sustain yourself, for somewhere 5K a month. And that 5K a month is easier to get to than you think through things like outside of music, even other online businesses. If I wasn't doing Patreon or teaching, I just have the skill set that I can go dive into that. But that's like a whole another quitting your job entrepreneur talk. But that's my spiel about how I like escaped the 9 to 5 to work on music without anything having blown up yet.
No, I love because it's a very delusional industry. You have to be so like hitting it from kind of a logical standpoint, getting the spreadsheets out, looking at the numbers, like makes a lot of sense in a brain of a creative. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I think it's time we'll pop into the demo listening portion of this. I'm inspired from that social media. I'm probably gonna shoot a couple reels tonight for sure. But
Sweet.
yeah, so how this works is
I'll do the intro, Blake.
okay,
Just
okay.
I gotta make sure people are on time,
All
because I
right,
was
take it
really
away,
short,
Elaine.
they're really
Let them
concise,
know.
I gotta let them know what's up.
Let them
Okay, so of
know.
course everyone wanted feedback from Avello, and we gotta get through as many as possible. So I have to be the time police here. So how
Okay.
we're gonna do it is we've already emailed everyone that did submit and asked them to pick a 2 to 2.5 minute mark of, the meat of the song, basically. So we're gonna get that played on screen. We're gonna promote, the next person and like so on and so forth. You'll just take like 15, 20 seconds to introduce yourself. We're gonna play the track, and then Adam's gonna give the feedback and we'll move on to the next person. If there's more feedback, of course, you guys can, always try to, join Adam's Patreon and one I can give you more thorough feedback. But for the sake of time and to get through as many people as possible, we're just gonna keep it short so we can play as many tracks as possible. So the first person I'm promoting up is William. So all you guys have to do is click the accept button because you've been invited to be a panelist and you'll come onto the screen, do like a 15, 20-second intro. We already have your clip, and then Adam will give the feedback.
Okay, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, but we cannot
Yes.
see you.
Oh, let me see. I'm trying to see
This is your
how.
chance to shine. You
I
got
know, I don't even know what's going on with my camera right now, but it should show that it's on. Let me see.
Just tell us what you look like. We'll picture it.
Oh God.
I'm brown. I'm Filipino. I got facial hair.
Let me draw a picture real quick.
Yeah, draw a picture. I can't even. Oh, I don't know. Oh, this sucks. My camera's not working. Uh, but I don't want
All
to
right.
take
Well,
too
let's
much.
not play the song. All
It's
right,
all
guys,
good.
next
It's all
folks,
good.
make sure your camera's working.
No, for sure, for sure. Yeah, everyone make sure your camera's working. So my name is William Delatorre Jr. and the song that I will have it be played is Spring of 22. And I'm from Benicia, California. And yeah, my dinner is steak and potatoes tonight.
Nice.
All right.
There's a beautiful picture of you right there.
Thank you. Yeah, that's me.
On the night that we met, it was beautiful. There was life in the laugh, it was colorful. Then we kissed and I wished to replay the song. Oh, the melody of love. We had met once again, I had prayed for this. We were young, we were fun, we were feeling bliss. And then we rode into night, into the abyss, where the melody would shine. When we were driving into the night, there were sparkles in your eyes, and we would listen to Only Right. Stranger love and stranger lights, to all the memories we've been through, from the season of love and truth, became the story of me and you, in the spring of 22. In the spring of 22. In the spring of 22. All the times that we played all our favorite tunes, we would sing, we would dance, we had been attuned into this life. At this time, flowers came to bloom, all the melody and lights. Many days, many nights till the end of spring. Joy and pain echo within our memories, with all the love that we gave glowing endlessly, and the melody was played. When we were driving into the night, there were sparkles in the sky, and we had listened to Only Right. Stranger love and stranger lights, to all the memories we've been through, from the season of love and truth. This is the story of me and you, in the spring of 22. 22.
Holy Avicii. Oh, we got the webcam. Dude, that song was super
Yes,
sick.
I finally got the webcam working.
Was
Yes.
that you singing too?
No, no, it was actually a vocalist that I hired on Fiverr to sing the
Wow.
song. But I made the lyrics. It took me 2 weeks and the way that it sounded, and he brought it to life. So it
Wow.
was awesome.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. I love the vocal, love the melody. That feels like it's straight out of a Avicii time capsule, you know what I'm saying? If that was your inspiration.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, I was getting that
yeah.
vibe. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's really
I really like it. I think it's really catchy. There's two things that really stood out to me. I would like to see the synths leading up to the drop evolve more. It felt
Mhm.
like it was kind of the chords the whole time, and you're like adding in the drums too, which kept it interesting. But I think maybe doing things like opening the cutoff filter on those chords at certain points, maybe washing it out with reverb at certain points, only to have it come back dry again, just to kind of create this sense of like flow and movement instead of
Mhm.
just the chords kind of walking towards the drop.
Okay.
Um, the other thing that I noticed is I think that the drop melody is fantastic, but it really needs to like smack you in the face. And it
Mhm.
felt like it was kind of taking a back seat to like the mid-range synths. And it was
Mhm.
also very wide. If I was to go in and like mix this song down, I would put more of an emphasis on the bass and on those leads, right? And just have them really like punch you in that face when that drop hits. I think that it was just kind of like lacking contrast. Like you built up this tension and this energy to the drop, then the drop hits, and it was beautiful and fit well with the build, but it just didn't give me that sense of release that the build created the need for, right? I think that when you get that like super satisfying goosebump feeling when the drop hits, it's because the build created the right amount of release that the drop gives you. Those things matched up very well. And you get this uneasy kind of feeling when the build either creates too much tension and the drop doesn't fulfill that with the release, or the build doesn't make enough tension and the drop has too much release. That's when you get that feeling like, oh, that drop came out of nowhere. Or you're like
Mhm.
dancing going hard to the build and the drop hits at a show and you're like, wait a second, what was that? Not how I feel about your song, but I do think that the build created a lot of tension and I need that drop to like just give me that smack in the face release. You know, the jumping up and down at the festival with the fireworks when that drop hits. So that'd be my advice is just focus on that drop mix down. But everything else was fantastic.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you so much, Avella.
Yeah, of course. You guys can just call me Adam. You don't need to call me Avello, by the
Oh,
way.
so Avella, I mean Adam. Thank you, Adam.
All
No
right, thanks,
problem.
Will. All right,
Thank
Peter,
you,
we
Elaine.
have promoted you to come up next. Cool.
All right. Hey, y'all. My track's name is Reborn, and it's a symbolization of, getting back to the creative side of things and fully diving into this music stuff. So, yeah. Hope you guys like it. It's a trance track, 130 BPM, and it's my way of just working towards getting into Anjuna someday. So,
Nice.
mhm.
Yeah, that was beautiful. One of the comments said, I am reborn. That's how I feel right now. That was sick, dude. I think that those synths are really beautiful. I've been super drawn towards the trance synths a lot lately. That's like anytime I
Mm.
see a trance pack on Splice, I'm digging through those presets. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that they're just so slept on and beautiful. But I love that track. What I think I wanted to hear was maybe a little bit more variation in the drop melody. Like the whole time it's doing this dun 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 dun. Maybe sometimes throwing some accent notes like dun 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 dun, like some short like little accent notes at the end of maybe like each melody phrase just to give it some variation. So then you have like that kind of chord progression melody, but then you have almost a sub melody going on as well throughout it, I think would sound really nice. And that could be playing the same sound or it could be another synth layer added on there as a harmony. But I just think that it needed some more variation in the melodics. And you know what? I'm not super familiar with like trance music. Maybe that was a 10 out of 10. And if so, tell me to kick rocks because if I don't know the genre. But that's what my ear was kind of wanting to hear.
No worries on that. Thank you for the notes. I'm
Yeah.
writing it down right now to make sure.
Sweet. And maybe you know, some fills periodically, maybe like every 4 bars, little drum fill, halfway through the drop, little bit of a drum fill, but just those fills can kind of keep things moving, even if you're not changing anything. They just tell the listener like, okay, that's the end of a phrase, or okay, something more is about to happen. But I didn't hear any fills throughout the drop. And like I said, maybe that's a genre thing, and I don't know much about trance music, but I think that that could be cool. I would check out like the Asper progressive house packs on Splice. A lot of really good drum fills in there.
Tracks and Splice.
Yeah.
All right,
And if you
sick.
forget the name or you can't spell it, hit me up and I'll send you a
Okay.
link. But I love that pack for those kinds of fills.
Absolutely, and thank you very much.
Yeah, of
Thank you,
course.
Peter. We
Yeah.
got Jenny up next.
Hi, nice to meet you. So Jenny, my artist name is Like Blue. I'm a singer and a producer. I've mostly only shown things I've produced here. This is actually going to be a top line for me. I'm working on a collab with actually someone that I met at an ODS a while back. And I should say, I know that he has an instrumental that is more further along, but I've been using the same one to add my top line to. So opening to any feedback, but I would be interested in any feedback around the vocals.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
thank you.
Excited to listen.
Oh, I've been losing hope. Reminds the chains that bind me. Oh, coming close to the edge. Oh, I can't control all the noise inside my head when I am falling all alone. And when I find the breaking point, will you carry me through the dark? And when I stand and fall apart, will you carry me through the dark? Carry me through
Wow, you can sing. Holy shit. Sound
Thank
really
you.
good. Sound really good. I really like that track too. That's right up my alley. I think that that pre-build or build section sounds amazing. Like you're really able to belt it out and it feels just so huge. What I think I would focus on is the verse sections leading up to that. I felt like your voice sounded great, but I was struggling to kind of catch the melody that you were
Hmm.
following. And in contrast with that like pre-drop section, that was like perfect. I love that. I thought that it had a really catchy melody and you really had a lot of energy in your voice. But just those verse sections leading up to it felt like it felt disconnected from that part because that part was
Mm.
exactly what I would say go for. The verse sections, I feel like there was maybe a little bit too much or maybe not enough repetition in the melody because you want to be able to kind of like hum it back after hearing it one or two times. And
Mm.
I can't really recall what that verse melody was, but I can hear that pre-drop melody or chorus melody in my head. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I think singing that same hook, Carry Me Through the Dark, halfway through the drop again, but at a different melody. So, I'm not a singer. I can't get on here and sing. Blake could probably describe what I'm about to say better than I could. But the way the pre-drop goes, you sing it like Carry Me Through the Dark, and you kind of go down. Halfway through the build, like if you went up, Carry Me Through the Dark, and like maybe held that out, went up, I think that could raise the energy for the second half of that drop. But those are my suggestions. I thought your voice sounded beautiful. Blake, being a fantastic singer, probably has some great input here too. I'd love for him to chime in.
So it's actually funny because we worked on this one actually a couple months ago. I not sure the depth of we went into structuring vocally melodic where it was going, but more so tone and
Hmm.
approach to the vocal, if I'm not mistaken,
Hmm.
right, Jenny?
Yep.
But no, I mean, you're absolutely correct. I mean, I think personally, I like kind of going up higher and higher and right till you get to the chorus.
Yeah.
Or sometimes doing the opposite effect. You start out really high in the verses, and then maybe the chorus, you say something really like light and low, and then it hits really high energy. So it can kind of go either way. But I think you mentioned it great earlier with having the build up and the drop feel like a good handoff, you know?
Hmm.
But yeah,
Yeah.
that's all I'd have to say about that. So I'm just kind of ingredients.
Thank you so much. Also, I'm definitely using your vocal chain.
Yeah, it's a nice one. That's good.
Thanks, Jenny. All right, up
Yeah.
next,
Thank you.
we have the Lulu.
Hi, I'm
What's
Raya.
up?
Hey, how are you guys? We actually met at Lost Lands. I'm friends with McCrae, so I just want to say hi.
I was about to say, I thought you looked really
I was
familiar.
like, hey. But this is a Die For Me Halsey remix that my friend and I made. We've been holding on to it for dear life. We made it while we were at Icon. I actually have a tattoo for that song, so it's actually a very like personal song to me. We made this remix, and you're like a remix person, so I felt like you were a good person to get feedback on this specific thing. So yeah, we're probably gonna release it soon. I just don't want to fuck up the marketing, so that's where we're at.
Sounds good. Let's check it out.
Said you take a bullet, told me you would die for me. I had a really bad feeling you'd be lying to me. We were on low, but you were getting high with me. Learned a lesson when you showed a different side to see. Said you die for me, you die for me, you
Man, that's sick.
but you left me, you said you die for me, you die for me, you die for me. But you lied to me, you lied to me, you lied to me. Said you love me, you love me, you love me. But you lied to me, you lied to me, you lied to me. Yeah, shut it down, I spell it out, it's simple enough. I came around, I figured I should follow my gut. I don't play anymore. I went through your phone and called the girls in your DMs and took all them home. And I know it's been a while since the last time you heard from me. Going to a savage, you can hear it in this verse, honey. Turns out it shows, cause they turn out the shows. I sold 40 million copies.
That's sick as fuck.
Did you die for me? You die for me? You die for me? You die for me?
Yeah, that was lit. I really like that drop. And I love Halsey too. She's one of
Big
like the
fan.
three goal vocalists I would want to work with in my career. She's awesome. That remix was sick. There's really not much I have to say. I think that the only thing that stood out to me is the snare felt buried.
Okay.
If that was cut through the mix more and like that was smacking me in the face the same way the kick was, I'd call it
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah. Other than that, I
Okay.
wish I had more help for you, but it
No,
sounds damn good to me.
that feels like good because I know it's ready to be released. We
Yeah.
know we need to get it out. We're just like I said, you just don't want to fuck up the marketing. But honestly, the conversations you were having earlier about like a song might not pop off for 2 years, like it's okay, you
Yeah.
know. So yeah, I don't know, but that's one of our favorites. So
And here's what I want to tell you too. The marketing leading up to your song is almost inconsequential compared to the marketing after it's out. The marketing after it's out is so much more important. You could completely fuck up the marketing leading up to it. You can just post it without saying a word to hype people up. Um, the marketing that happens after is what really matters. So maybe that takes a little bit of weight off your shoulders. Maybe it puts more weight on your shoulders. Not sure. But that's what I would keep in mind, right? I think people spend too much time, especially when you're building your fan base, trying to create hype. Like, don't create hype. Just put it out there and then advertise it so that people can go and instantly listen to it, right? If we were all like Millennium or we were Subtronics or something, it makes sense to tease a song for like weeks or a month or something and build that anticipation. But if you're still building your fan base, give those people something to latch onto the second they discover you.
yeah,
So drop it. It's sick. I love it.
thank you.
Tell McCray I said what up.
Okay, I will.
Thank you. Thank you, Delulu. Up
Hi.
next, we have Dabosaurus. David, also. If you wanna, I think your mic is still off, my guy.
Hello, sorry about that. There we go. What's up, guys?
What's up?
Not much, man. Not much. My name is Dave. I go by Dabosaurus. I've been getting lessons for about 5 months now through Papa J. Shout out Barnyard Rex and stuff like that. I've been doing that, and this is my Mind of a Stoner remix by Wiz Khalifa and MGK. So a little bit of old school vibes.
Sweet.
All my dreamers, put your hands in the sky. All my dreamers, put your hands in the sky. One time. All my dreamers, put your hands in the sky. All my dreamers, put your hands in the sky. One time. Bullshit that you came from, worked hard to get away from, but the devil there and he just can't seem to shake off. What a long night you stayed out, thinking about that paper. Pressure niggas split it like laser. The mind of a stoner, and the mind of a stoner. Simple thoughts from the loner, simple thoughts from the loner. Just the mind of the stoner, and the mind of the stoner. Simple thoughts from the loner, simple thoughts from the loner. Yeah. Parents aren't doing much now since little brother got locked up, and I'm stuck smoking this beer, waiting for the weed man to get stocked up. And my girl canceled on me, said something else popped up, and I can't get with my ex now 'cause her ring finger all rocked up. Dang, dang. No one likes you when you're 23 without a plane. Sit around in apartments, all they smoking weed, and I'm like, bitch, don't kill my vibe. Bitch, don't kill my vibe. Till I turn in my Subaru and in the rearview with them lights. Red, white, blue, same color as our flag. The ones that they always say salute, but the ones that's whipping my ass. And the same days that I'm happy, is the same days that I'm mad. Cause I can't go 24 hours without shit happening till my ass get high. All my dreamers, put your hands in the sky. All my dreamers, put your hands in the sky. One time. All my dreamers, put your hands in the sky. All my dreamers, put your hands in the sky. One time. The bullshit that you came from, worked hard to get away from. That was there and you just can't seem to shake up. Long night that you stayed up, thinking about that paper. I should make it split it like a blazer. From the mind of the stoner, from the mind of the stoner. Simple thoughts from the loner, simple thoughts from the loner. Just the mind of the stoner, from the mind of the stoner. Simple thoughts from the loner, simple thoughts from the loner. Rolling up this weed, simple thoughts from the loner.
Sounds like Papa J is doing a good job, man. That was sick.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you, dude.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
my good
Dude,
friend. I love him.
dude, he's absolutely goated, man. He like the things that like he's helped me with, even like social media wise, has been like super helpful too. Because like it actually helped me get booked for a show with Austin back out here, like in Erie, PA, and stuff like that. Just like got announced today, so it's like
Nice.
cool.
Congrats.
Those things like absolutely help. You know, I try
Yeah.
and tell people like go get lessons from people like they have things to help you, and yeah, I always suggest it. Helps out a lot.
Yeah. That's the biggest thing that I would do differently. If I went back and changed anything about my progression and getting into it, is find a mentor and find a
Yep.
teacher.
Yeah.
But about your track,
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought it was really sick. It sounded really good, and like that bass and those drums work really well with the rap vocal.
Mhm.
I think there's three things that I'll say. One, I would have liked to see some fills throughout the drop, whether they're
Yep.
drum fills or like maybe some bass fills, but just kind of help it feel like it's still moving, maybe every 2 bars, every 4 bars, every 8 bars. Usually
Mhm.
when I do that, I'll have like a very small fill, 2 bars in, medium fill, 4 bars in, and a larger fill that's maybe like a bar long, even 8 bars in, to create this kind of sense of turnaround. Whereas
Mhm.
that, it sounded sick, but just something to kind of keep you feel like it's moving,
Oh
right?
yeah. No, absolutely.
And then I would try to find a way to subvert expectations at some
Mhm.
point. That could come in the form of like a fake out
Oh
or
yeah.
the drop sound switching up to something unexpected, because both
Mhm.
times I think it was the same sound in both drops, and
Yeah.
both times it built up and then dropped. And there
Mhm.
was no like subversion of the expectations, right? So it
Mhm.
sounds sick, but you need that moment where you want the listener to go like, "Ooh, I wasn't expecting that, but like that sounded
Mhm.
really good." So if you
Yeah.
could find
Yeah.
a way to get that in the song some
Yeah.
way, I think that would be
Absolutely.
cool.
Yep.
Um, and if you could also create like a mix out point halfway
Yeah.
through
Yeah.
for DJs, right? Because
Yeah.
the way
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
set up
Yeah.
right now is like it goes right back into the vocal, right back into the drums. It's
Mhm.
unlikely that someone would like on the fly throw it in a set, because they'd
Mhm.
have to play your song for the full 3 minutes.
Got you.
There's no
Got you.
mix out point. Sure,
Yep.
people
Yep.
might make an edit. I do that all the time,
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
I'll make a short edit, take the intro, put it, or take the outro, put it after the first drop. But there's
Mhm.
also been times where I'm like, you know what, I don't like the song enough to do that, so I'm not going to play it. But if it was
Yeah.
already mixable, I would have played it. So something to
Got you.
keep in mind, if you can create some kind of mix out point for
Yeah.
DJs, I think that could be beneficial in getting playouts.
Yeah. I appreciate that, dude. Yeah. I appreciate you think that could get played out down the road if I do all these things. So that helps
Yeah,
out immensely, bro. Thank you.
yeah, for sure. I think it sounds sick. I would definitely see it going in some sets.
Appreciate it, man. Definitely. Thank you so much,
Yeah,
brother.
yeah, of course.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, up next we have Neil Down.
Well,
What up?
hey all. My name's Neil. I go by Neil Down. There's something playing in the background right now, so I hope you guys can't hear that. I don't know what it is. I've got too many tabs open, but similar to Dabosaurus, I've been recently working with PapaCon through Barnyard Rex and taking lessons. I've been producing for about 10 years on and off, but last couple months I've been taking it a little bit more serious, so I'm excited to hear what you guys have to say.
Sweet.
Let's do that.
Feel safe now, wake up screaming, wishing that I was someone else. I'm desperate for a meaning, that I'll let it get the best of me. I know you've crossed the line, took what's left in me. Remember it is mine, but you won't set me free. I swear to God, just like took from me, now I want it back. I know you've crossed the line, took what's left in me. Remember it is mine, but you won't set me free. I swear to God, just let me know. 'Cause when it rains, it fucking pours. It's all I got, so ask for more. I'm gonna give my all, should walk out the door. I swear to God, just let me know. 'Cause when it rains, it fucking pours. It's all I got, so ask for more. I'm gonna give my all, should walk out the door.
Yeah, that was sick, dude. So that's Papa Khan singing?
Thank you. Yeah, it's Papa Khan on the vocals.
Nice. That's cool. Yeah, it sounds really good. I really like the melody, and I think the vocals are sitting really well. I like the way they're kind of like super stereo and wide there. The one thing that I will say is I think that I would suggest creating more contrast between the different sections because when the song first started off, we have like almost a full minute of that kick drum going. And I think that maybe you could have started off with like there's just like some claps, then the kick drum comes in, then the hats come in. But it felt like there was a long time where instrumentally not a lot was changing. The vocal was changing and like some new things are coming in here and there, but it was kind of just like that, the whole time there was instead of like maybe creating some tension as we approach like that chorus section, then giving some more release there, things like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Thank
so I
you.
think you have everything you need right in front of you. I would just like look at those sections, see how you can chop them up and create some evolution and some tension and release between them.
Okay, will do. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Sick song though.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank you, my guy. Up next, we have Devin. There we go.
Hello.
What up?
Hi, I'm Devin, based out of SF. I made this track after like the Knock 2 like after party, and I was just inspired to like make something that was just very like small room, lasers, people like jumping around, sweaty like afters vibe. So yeah, there's not much more I have context wise, but yeah.
Sweet. Oh, that ending was sick, the pitch down. Yeah, I like that. I definitely see the influence and could see that at the Sweaty Afters vibe for sure. Uh, what really stood out to me is it sounds very mono. I would focus on spreading things out more into the stereo field. I think phase cancellation on the track as a whole is a myth. I have yet to see it. So if anybody's scared to like push their things out into the stereo, I think as long as you operate by like this one rule of thumb, you'll probably be okay. But when I don't know where to start, when I'm making things wider or narrower, I try to imagine like a V in my headphones with the bottom of the V at the bottom of my chin and the top of the V up at the top. And you tend to hear lower frequencies more towards the bottom of your head and higher frequencies more towards the top. So I use that V as kind of where I want to place things in the stereo field. If it's lower frequency, I want it to be more mono. And if it's higher frequency, I'll spread it out into the stereo more. That's kind of just a rule of thumb, right? You can always break that. But 9 out of 10 times that gets the track to where it needs to be for me. I would suggest taking that approach to it for you because I think things like your lead sounded very mono. And like it's not wrong to have a mono lead, but I would definitely have like a stereo layer layered up with that to kind of make it sound full. But I thought the track was sick. Could totally see Noctu throwing that down, and I would just work on the stereo spread.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Up next, we have Kevin.
Hey,
What
my
up?
name's Kevin. My music project is K Junto. I've been producing for around 6 years, but releasing seriously now for just about this year. I'm mostly bass house and D&B, but once I get like a strong like foothold, I want to venture out into like some 140 stuff. But here's a remix of Don't Trust Me by 303. I figured that this would be up your alley since you know you're the
Hell yeah.
remix guy. So
Black dress with the tights underneath. I got the breath of a last cigarette on my teeth. She's an actress, but she ain't got no need. She's got money from her parents and a trust fund back east. Tongues always pressed to your cheeks, while my tongue is on the inside of some other girl's teeth. Tell your boyfriend, he says he's got beef, that I'm a vegetarian and I ain't fucking scared of him. She wants to touch me, woo. She wants to love me, woo. She'll never leave me, woo. Don't trust her, never trust her. Won't trust her, won't trust me. She wants to touch me, woo. She wants to love me, woo. She'll never leave me, woo. Don't trust her, never trust her. Won't trust her, won't trust me.
Listening to this song just just now reminded me that when I was in eighth grade, my Instagram bio was the lyrics from this. It was tell your boyfriend if he says he's got beef that I'm a vegetarian and I ain't fucking scared of him. So if you saw me cringe during that, I was not cringing at the song. I was thinking about my Instagram bio in eighth grade. Anyway, banger remix. I love that song and I thought that the drop synths were really cool and like had a really like it had a lot of personality. You know, there's a lot going on and it worked really well and it fit the vocal really well. There's not much I would change, except you do those fake outs. You do those fake outs, and then the drop just hits. And it's like not a lot changes between the fake out and then the full on drop. When those fake out moments happen, I would almost consider them like a rebuild. So I would like sweep frequencies away, like cut out low end, maybe even cut out a little bit of high end, wash it out with a little bit of reverb. I'll also do like a stereo automation on those two bar fake outs, like cut the stereo down to 75% width. So it's narrowing up too. And then when it actually drops, then it really punches you in the face because you got to almost like rebuild the tension to make it work. Those fake outs can create tension if you do them right, right? But you have this awesome build, fake out hits doesn't give you the release because the drums come in and then the drums come in and it's kind of like you just got to get build that carry that tension right basically. So like build some tension in that fake out section. I think you got a banger right here.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, of course. And send it to me when it's done. I could see that going in one of my sets. So be sure to
Love
send the
it,
link
dude.
over.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
Awesome. Thanks, Kevin. Up next, we have Anomaly.
Hey, so first of all, I wanted to say hi,
What's
got it
up,
well.
man? How's it
How have you
going?
been?
Good. How about yourself?
Not too bad. I'm studying at Full Sail, so I moved out here to
Nice.
Florida, so I just got the new place. So
Nice. Congrats.
thank you. And so the song that I actually have as the demo is actually an original that I'm working on currently. It's a little bit of a work in progress, but I've had some breakthroughs with some of my sound design. And so I know that it sounds more like an interlude track for an album rather than like a full track. But I've been really enjoying this because out of nowhere it just hit me not even like a few days ago, and I just did this all within like probably 10 hours. So
Okay, sweet. Excited to listen.
Mission log updated.
Yeah, and that's cool. Yeah, did I see what you mean? That sound design is crazy.
yeah, because one of the biggest things about that too was when I started making it, I was genuinely interested with it. But as you could probably hear, that melody at the second half gets really swingy. And so the whole point of that track was to kind of emulate the world building I'm trying to do in that, which
Mhm.
is like you're basically going through distorted reality, so things are breaking apart.
Yeah, yeah, that sounded cool. You listen to a lot of Virtual Riot?
Yes. And
Yeah.
honestly, my buddy Jay, he goes by Incant. He has been in Eliminates Discord quite often. And so, like, he has this uncanny ability with sound design. So I've been picking up so many different things from him. Like, I did a Son Holo Don't Look Down remix that I posted recently, but I went from my melodic dubstep route to being a little bit more like leaning into this realm with like all the different sound design layers. So I'm just kind of exploring that now.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. The one thing that I will say is you have a 32 bar drop there. That's a really long, it's hard to keep a listener interested for that long. And I
Yeah.
think that halfway through that, um, I feel like all I keep talking about is tension, but I think you need to like rebuild
Yeah.
it and then drop it again or have like a bigger turnaround.
Yeah.
Because like each section is kind of like, a couple bars, little gap, couple bars, little gap, and that's the repeated arrangement throughout the drop. And you need larger fill sections, more maybe like the drums build up again and then the next 16 bars comes in. You don't have to insert an 8 bar build in there, but
Yeah.
just build that into the last 2 bars of that first 16 bar
Hmm.
section because the same thing for 32 bars can start to get repetitive. But I think that everything you got there is super cool, super unique, sounds like Virtual Riot. Um, and I would also maybe tighten up the mid bass a little bit. Mid bass felt
Hmm.
a little bit too stereo. It sounds good wide, but part of the problem is if everything's wide, nothing's wide. So you have these also
Yeah.
like very wide lead melodies and stuff. Those will feel bigger, and the track like the dimension of it will feel larger if you have some things tightened up by contrast. And I would just control the stereo width in that mid bass a little bit. But I love what you got. If you told me that was like a virtual riot whip or something, I would totally believe it. So keep going.
I love that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Anomaly. And up next, we have Dream Code.
Yo, what's up,
What
guys?
up?
So it's me, my name's Khalil, and then my duo partner Anton, who's also joined. I'm based out of Scottsdale, Arizona, and uh, I'll let him talk about himself, but we're gonna show you our free remix from K-pop Demon Hunters. We've been
Sweet.
producing for a while, but um, still just having fun.
But something broke. I tried to sing, couldn't hit the notes. The words kept catching in my throat. I tried to smile, I was suffocating though. But here with you, I can finally breathe. You say you're no good, but you're good for me. I've been hoping to change, now I know we can change. But I won't if you're not by my side. Why does it feel right every time I let you in? Why does it feel like I can tell you anything? All the secrets that keep me in chains and all the damage that might make me dangerous. You got a dark side, guess you're not the only one. But if we both try finding what
Nice.
we're
One more
running
build.
from, we can't fix it if we never face it. What if we find a way to escape it? We could be
That's sick.
we can't fix it if we never face it. Let the past be the past till it's weightless. We can't fix it if we never face it. Let the past be the past till it's weightless.
Oh, time goes by and I lose perspective. Yeah, hope only hurts, so I just forget it. But you're breaking through all the dark in me when I thought that nobody could. And you're waking up all these parts of me that I thought were buried for good. Between imposter and this monster, I've been lost inside my head. Ain't no choice when all these voices keep me pointed towards nowhere. It's just easy when I'm with you. No one sees me the way you do. I don't trust it, but I want to. I keep coming back to why does it feel right every time I let you in? Why does it feel like I can tell you anything? We can't fix it if we never face it. What if we find a way to escape it? We could be we can't fix it if we never face it. Let the past be the past till it's weightless.
I try to hide, but something broke.
Yeah, I really like that. Low key jealous. It's not mine. It's a banger, dude. But
Feel free to
so
hop on.
yeah, we'll talk. We'll talk. I hear those sport mode samples in there, bro. That's the sauce right there. Um, I love the drop. I think that you're teasing it. You're giving away too much in the build. It sounds like you have like the same track, like the lead layer or the chord layer, also right there in the build. And what I might do is duplicate that, make it a separate track, EQ it a little bit more dramatically, and maybe even make it quieter, reverb it out a little bit, and filter it in more. Like we want to tease it. We want them to kind of know it's coming, but to still feel very powerful when the drop hits. And I feel like you're giving away too much of the synths during the build that we get to the drop and we don't have that like face punch kind of energy.
Yeah.
And I know this is a chiller track, so you don't need to like really go balls to the wall with it, but um, tease that synth a little bit less in the build, and then also kind of across the board, I think that your basses are too wide. I
Okay.
think that your drop bass feels very wide and your bass feels very wide. Like I was just talking about on the last one, our instinct to make things feel big is to actually make them wider and feel bigger. But I think that your track will feel bigger by contrast of having those basses a little bit narrow. Because what happens is everything's competing in the stereo. Like you have these very wide chords and wide leads that are now fighting with the bass in the stereo instead of the bass sitting a little bit more mono and the leads having room to breathe in the stereo so they're not fighting each other. I think that the
Yeah.
track would sound really nice. But yeah, I love that. I think that drops sick. Got that trance gate on there, man. That's my steez right there. I love it. Send it to me
I'm
when
not
you
gonna
guys finish it up. I'm
lie.
excited to hear.
Yeah, not gonna lie. You were kind of an inspo for the Transgate. I was like, dude, I know it sounds exactly like that.
I mean, I didn't invent the trance gate, bro, so go crazy. But yeah, I love
Awesome.
that sound.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you guys.
All right, last for the night, we have Blake.
Who's
All
that?
right.
What's up?
All right, Blake, what you got?
I don't know, some dude.
Yeah, he's all right, I heard. Um, yeah, so this one I did with it was a top line that Osiris picked up, and it's demo stage right now. She wanted me to preface, but any feedback and direction or anything that just comes to your brain would be super helpful.
Sounds good. Let's check it out.
Loaded the gun, you're dangerous. Look what we've done, we made a mess. Keep this our dirty secret. Our dirty secret. Taste of your skin on my tongue. Keep this
Yeah, dude, that drop was nasty.
Hey,
Yeah, and your voice sounded really good too.
thank you, brother.
Yeah, I still have screenshots in my phone from 3 years ago. I was listening to your top line folder that I think your manager sent to my manager or something. And just came across them the other day. I had all these screenshots of my favorite ones. I have to go find them for you and see if you still got them available. But
Shit.
yeah, this sounded sick. I really like the drops. The only thing that stood out to me is the snare choice, and that's a creative, artistic thing. But I think like a rim shot snare or like a clap, like something very tight would would almost carry more aggression than the bigger kind of typical dubstep snare. I think that could be a cool switch.
Hmm.
But other than that, yeah, that drop gave me the stank face, and your voice sounded awesome. So another cool thing that might be nice is like a little spacey kind of counter melody in those verses, because things feel very much carried by your voice. It's just like the bass and your voice, and
Hmm.
maybe just like a little sign pluck type melody with some delay. Nothing overpowering, but just kind of give a little bit of something going on in the background could be really cool. But I love that song.
Okay. Hell yeah. Well, thank you so much, my guy.
Yeah. Yeah, of course, bro. That's a banger.
Hell yeah. Well, that concludes the demo listening portion of the call. Before we hop into the networking VIP section, is there anything that we can do to help you out with like maybe tickets to the next show or streaming your next song, pre-save anything, or anything that you would love to plug right now?
Yeah, I'll put my Venmo in the chat if everybody wants to send me like $100, that'd be sick. I'm just kidding. No, guys, really just don't give up, man. Don't give up. Keep grinding. And that's the best thing you could do for me because I love seeing other people power through. It feels like we're all pushing this boulder up a hill and just keep pushing the boulder.
Do you have like a Patreon or like a place if people want to do like one-on-ones or
I
anything or
linked it. We
mentorship?
linked it in the
Oh,
chat
you
as
linked it in the
well.
chat?
Oh, we linked it
Yeah,
in
we got the Patreon well
we got
plugged
it.
here.
Okay. Amazing. Amazing. Well, also big shout out. I want to shout out Elaine because she works her butt off behind the scenes and makes these beautiful events happen for everybody. And also runs Neon Owl, which also we do these mastermind calls every week on Wednesday, which I've been a part for a while right now. And if you guys want to be a part of that, it's basically the same thing is happening right now. Every week we get a speaker on. We have demo submissions and we get to talk to them and get some feedback on our demos. And if you want more information on that, you can check it out in the Neon Owl bio. But yeah, anything else?
I think that's it. Thank you so much, Adam, for like sharing all your knowledge. I think a lot of people got a lot of things out of it.
Oh
So
yeah.
stick
Thank you
around.
for having me. Thank you for
Yeah.
listening, guys.
Especially
I'm
those of you guys
gonna
that submit, like a demo ticket or a VIP. We're just gonna start promoting some of you guys on the screen. I know there were questions earlier and we didn't get a chance to answer all of them. So this would be your chance to answer questions. Everyone else, you feel free to stay in the chat and hang out as well. Let me start like promoting some people if some Ray, you can help me promote some folks, that'd be great. And then we can you need to go pee, huh, Adam?
I'm good.
Okay, I was like, are they gonna run? Because I was like, it's been a minute. So sometimes like you can't pee until the end. Um, okay, let's see. Let's bring some folks up. And then yeah, feel free if anyone has any questions, go ahead and take a stab at it as we bring folks onto the screen. Don't be shy now.
Yo, Adam, what up? I
What
got a
up?
question. Yeah, I took a lesson with you a couple years
Yeah, I
ago. I
remember.
don't know if you remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing like drum bass and stuff, and I like recently just got like a couple like the big DJ support, and I'm trying to like keep the momentum rolling. Like, do you have any like tips for like like growing the DJ support and just like keeping the momentum rolling?
Have you shared that DJ support, like made content around it?
Yeah, I
Like,
made a bunch of
okay.
content.
Okay, that's good. So, dude, I would just try to keep the ball rolling. Those same people that have played your music out, keep a list and send them your new releases. Or, if they're engaging with you, ask them where you can send them if you can't track down a demo email, things like that. But really do just keep making music and keep putting it out there. And when you get those big DJ playouts, do everything you can to milk it right? Blake and I talked about like trying to play it too cool. I've seen a lot of guys who get big DJ playouts and they put it on their story and never do anything, never mention it again. Myself, I would make like three different reels and TikToks about that to try to show people that, hey, so and so co-signed me. You should check out my stuff too. So that's my advice there is leveraging that to get more traction on your music and then just keep the ball rolling and get that music in front of those same people because they're likely to support it again.
Hell yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And congrats, dude. That's awesome.
Thank you.
I don't know if we're raising hands, but if we're just jumping in, how does one fat rack?
How does one fat rack? Just throw the fat rack on there, man. That's I could send it to you. It's just a little fat rack from Excellent Sound. I can
Oh
send a
yeah.
Dropbox. I can send a Dropbox link over to you. But it's really a combination of just like OTT and saturation. There's a bunch of different fat racks out there. It's kind of just like a term that refers to a chain of processing that really just beefs things up and makes it fuller. Right. So you can probably find free ones online that people have made. I just happen to like that one from Excellent Sound. And that's the gist of it. That's how you fat rack.
All right, thank you.
So I guess I had one thing to mention too, which was like talking for more younger producers and everything, where was that confidence marker between you from leaning to being like too much of a perfectionist to just dropping that guard and just being like, just gotta go?
From the beginning, I was delusional about how good my music was, even when it was bad. I didn't care at all, dude. I just like would put it out there and it'd be terrible. Um, And then I slowly realized, like, okay, it's not that good. I need to make it better. Because I had close friends around me that would tell me, like, look, bro, this is just ass. Okay, you got to get back in the studio and figure out how to level up because this sucks. And you need those people, right? Because if I didn't have those people, if everybody says sick, bro, your music never gets better. But that being said, just let it go, man. Paying attention to those little details that you're focused on. 90% of the idea usually comes together in like one session, and then we all spend 6 months trying to polish up little tweaks that nobody's ever going to hear. So don't worry about it. And when you feel yourself getting frustrated in those moments, always step away. Don't try to like force through and finish it right then and there. Step away, come back, don't get frustrated. But for me, I was ignorant about the
I,
quality of
re-
my music, I would say.
I remember honestly listening to a podcast with Kashmir, and he sat there and he said the blind arrogance.
Yeah. That's what it was, man. And everybody's gonna cringe sitting here listening to this, but for almost 2 years, I exported everything at 22.5 kilohertz, not knowing why my music sounded like crap. And for those of you that don't know, that means you don't get any information above 10K, right? And the reason I did that is because for about a year and a half, I was making music on a Windows tablet, and it couldn't handle like rendering it out live in the full quality. So I just changed the Ableton settings until it actually like worked for me, and that was happened to be 22.5 because it's like half the bit depth or whatever. And then I was just exporting it at that, comparing my stuff on Spotify, wondering why it sounded like crap. But I was still releasing music. I put out probably 20 plus songs exported that way. And there's the blind arrogance, bro. Yeah. But then you got to have those friends that bring you back down to earth. But it's blind arrogance. That's funny. Kashmir said that too.
Um, kind of related, in a sense, like I feel, I said earlier in the chat, like I'm at a point where, like self-teaching has become like a big like issue where it's like I can't really level up,
Hmm.
but also taking like master classes or lessons tend to be like pricier.
Hmm.
And I'm like free 99 main. Like my main DAW is Reaper. I use Vital instead of Serum. Like anything
Hmm.
that's like on the cheaper side because it's just, affordability. But what are some resources that you use to level up, I guess, or anyone really that helped you level up without having to like break the bank?
Building a circle of people around you that are like cool people making similar music and you guys just help each other out. I've had a lot of things taught to me by just my friends and my peers. And they're like, bro, you got to check this out. Or wait, dude, that's how you're doing your mastering. Like, forget that. You got to learn about this. So building your network, I think, is the biggest thing. And then you guys can grow together and help each other out. And also trying to recreate your favorite songs. I have probably never learned more than when I was trying to remake my favorite songs because you learn about all the little secrets about and why you really like that song. It's not just some intangible thing. Oh, I love this song for no reason. No, there's things about it, the key, the BPM, the progressions, the drum patterns that you can dissect and then pull and put in your own music. So dig into those and build your network. That's my best advice. I was on the free 99 too. I know how it feels. I was learning in college when I was debating if I could get Chipotle that week, or spend $20 running a song through Submit Hub, trying to save up for that Wisner top line back in the day. You know how it goes. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
It's Wisner, but I appreciate
Oh, sorry, bro. Sorry.
you
You have so
so
much, you still have so much
Call him that.
wisdom.
you're good. Thank you,
I
brother.
should have
I
known.
appreciate it.
Adam, quick question. Do you have like a demo email that you use to like take in new songs from people? Because like I understand your rise has felt like it's overnight, even though it's been like, you've been grinding for a
Yeah.
while. Um,
You got to drop them off at my house with a USB. Kind of just weeds out the riffraff, nobody who's serious. But no, yeah, avellomusic@gmail.com is just my regular email. You can send them there. I'd also say send them on Instagram, but it's like hit or miss if I'm going to see that. So email, and if I don't respond, ping me again, okay? Poke me again, because I'm excited to check it out.
cool. I'll be at your door with some free merch.
Sounds good. Sounds good. I'll type that in the chat too, so nobody forgets.
Also, another question for you, Adam. Currently in my studies for my bachelor's degree for Full Sail, we actually this month we're supposed to like interview some industry professionals. So
Hmm.
whether it's anybody in your team or you, I would love to see if you guys have any available time to like do that.
Yeah, let's do it. We can make it happen.
Awesome. That'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, like riffing off of what someone just said, for us, it feels a little bit overnight. For you, you've probably been chugging away at this for a while. But
Yeah.
with sort of that overnight success, what was maybe like the most surprising part that you didn't expect through that?
I would say how quickly bigger DJs started reaching out and supporting. Because I've been trying to get at these people for years, man. And a lot of them, always nice if you ever meet them in person, of course, but trying to like maybe release on their label or do a remix for them or, you know, fingers crossed, always a collab. And people are busy. But as soon as these songs started popping, it's like people that I've looked up to for years hit me up. Yo, bro, like let's work on something. Or you want to do this official remix for me? And I'm like, didn't expect that. It can happen very quick to get that bigger DJ support once things start catching.
I guess to piggyback on that, like how have you been handling? Because I know when a lot of attention kind of comes really quickly at you, it can get a little overwhelming. So how are you navigating like that space?
Time management and priority management, I think is the biggest thing. I have a whiteboard with everything written on it. It's behind me, but there's some stuff that it's like not locked in or I'm not supposed to talk about. I want to show it to you guys, but I'd have to erase like half of this. I'd get in trouble probably. But keeping everything prioritized and your time management, a lot of opportunities come in and I'll have a week to do the remix or 2 week or a week and a half to do the remix if I want to capitalize on those things. So it can be tough, but that's really the best explanation I could say. I mean, it's hard, bro. I can't lie. It can be stressful because you're like, damn, I don't want to make the wrong move. I don't want it to stop. Like things are finally going good. But I think the biggest mistake that people make when things start to go good is they get paralyzed and they're too scared to take the next step because what if it's the wrong step? But you just got to do it, and that's what I tell myself every day. I think Kevin froze up, or maybe I'm frozen.
It, there he goes.
Sorry, my internet was going in and out.
No problem.
I think Justin had a question. He said, wait, someone had a question. Was it Justin? I think it was about management. Where did I
Yeah,
go?
it
Oh yeah.
says,
So what's your
what's your
take on working with a
On working with a manager? So the worst thing you can do is try to convince somebody to manage you. They have to come to you and be like, look, I believe that you are the next biggest thing, and I'm going to work night and day to build that alongside of you. Uh, they're going to have to work, when you get a manager in the early stages, they're going to have to do a lot of work for very little to no money. They're basically investing in you, right? And they're also going to have to do a lot of late night work, a lot of thinking outside the box, a lot of hustling. And if they are not delusional about your project and where it could go, they're not going to be an effective manager. So trying to pitch yourself to a manager, trying to go out there. It's great to like network and shake hands and be like, hey man, I like what you're doing. I just want to get on your radar and connect. But trying to convince someone that like they should manage you, I just don't think it's the way to go. You got to attract the manager, somebody that's going to come to you and they're gonna work tirelessly right alongside you and they're going to grow with you. You can always trust that day one manager, you know? But if you blow up and you go get a big manager, it's business to them, right? They weren't there from the beginning. And then also you need to have something to manage, right? Managers can't create success. The reason you're not where you want to be is not because you don't have a manager. They're not gonna make everything happen suddenly for you overnight. They're a source of guidance and communication. And then I'm very lucky. My manager does a lot of hustling on his own and makes some crazy shit happen sometimes. But for the most part, I think artists think like the reason I'm slept on is because I don't have a manager. Bro, you have nothing to manage right now. You don't have a ton of shows, don't have a ton of music, don't have a ton of streams coming in. They're not the reason you're not where you want to be. You get there, the right people will come to you.
How many years did it take for you to realize you needed a manager and stuff like that?
I never realized that I needed one. He came to me.
Okay, got you, got
Yeah,
you.
I
Like,
mean, think
when did he how many followers did you have? When did you like, was it at a certain point that you like realized that at all? That you're like, why, was it like a bunch of people, or was it just one single person?
there was two people at the time that both hit me up like in the same week or two, and they wanted to manage me. And luckily, I picked the right one because I'm still with him to this
Hmm.
day. But this was in late 2020, like going into 2021.
Hmm.
So I've been making music for like 3 years, and I met this guy. He's in Orlando. He was managing two other DJs here, and my girlfriend at the time, she introduced us. He got me on a show because he was also doing some talent buying, or at least some talent buying consulting at the Insomniac venue here in Orlando. And then he was like, "Look, dude, I love your music, love the work ethic. The show is sick. What do you think about, I take you on as an artist?" I said, "Hell yeah, bro, let's do it." And that's my manager, Peter, one of my good friends, and that dude, I owe him everything. You know,
Did he have any credentials prior to that, or was he just kind of like, you know what I mean?
that's the best thing about it, bro. We both just kind of like dove into the industry with nothing.
Nice, bro. Nice. You guys both just
Yeah,
fucking dived in head
yeah,
first and just said,
yeah.
that's the delusional shit you're talking about. Then I see what you're
Yeah,
saying. I get
exactly.
you. I
Like he
get you
was doing
saying.
some talent buying, like
Yeah.
booking artists for some venues, but and doing hospitality. I think that was his main thing was like hospitality, like
Yeah.
they pick the artist up, take them to the venue, set up their green room, make sure they're all good, make sure they're on the stage when they're supposed to play, that sort of
Hmm.
thing. But that was all that he was doing, and then I had played like two or three shows performing my own music, and I was doing a lot of apartment complex pool parties, which were just signing events where I'd play whatever was at the top of BPM Supreme that week
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
make a little extra money in college. But that's a good. I want to share another side story. Like my first show that I got booked to play my own music, or my second show that I was like booked for my style. I got up on stage, packed room, 150 people in this venue in Jacksonville called Myth, and I am not even kidding. I cleared it out to me, my friend, and the bartenders in 15 minutes. I'm
Oh
not kidding.
man.
It was brutal. It was a rude awakening, and taught me that just because you make music does not mean you can go out there and play an engaging show. So it's a whole skill on its own.
Did you produce first or did you DJ first?
I started producing first.
Okay. Gotcha. Gotcha.
Then during the period of being like producing's too hard, I don't want to do it, but
Yeah.
still want to get involved in music, I bought like this 20-year-old Nexus something or other on Craigslist. It was
Oh
like
shit.
real
Yeah.
vinyl turntables. It was a
Yep.
hundred pounds, and I was lugging it around to house parties
That's
for like
awesome, bro.
$40 freshman year a night, freshman year of college. And then I locked in on the producing. I was like, I got to start making music.
Yeah, it's awesome. That's all I hear is that you gotta start producing. Like DJing is like fun and stuff like that. But if you actually want to get anything, you gotta start producing and stuff like that.
Yeah. Just DJing will never take you out of your local area, let alone to the festival stages. But producing can take you across the country. So I experienced that too in college. I went around to every venue trying to get them to like let me just do open format or EDM or something at these bars. And I was so bad at DJing, didn't know what beat matching was, didn't know what key matching was. I was sending out mixes where I would just like turn on the flanger and play the next song. I thought that was lit and burned every bridge with all these bars in Tallahassee. I went to FSU.
Hmm.
But and it felt like I was failing. Like I had hit this gap where I had to play these venues to be a successful musician. But actually, I was just at home making music, which took me a lot farther because none of these like resident DJs at your local bar or club have legs to stand on the second they move to another city. But
Hmm.
you can go a lot farther just making music. So don't get caught up on your local scene. The local scene is a vanity metric.
Yep.
Playing those local shows, getting on those support slots for bigger artists, it's really a vanity metric. Your career is not going to level up from there. You'll get some badass Instagram photos, and maybe
Hmm.
somebody will buy you a drink because they thought the set was lit. But
Hmm.
that is not what's stopping you, right? The music and the content is what's stopping you.
Gotcha.
At what point did you start to like your music? I have a hard like,
Hold on,
I
you
have a
froze
hard
up
time
for a sec.
I have like a hard time re-listening to my music over time.
Well, like I love all my music, but I also hate it by the time it's out. So if that's what you're experiencing,
That's exactly what it is.
so I try to remind myself of like that feeling you had when you first laid down the idea and you were like, holy shit, that's a banger. You know, like you jumped up out of your chair, maybe you were just dancing, vibing to it in your room, you were texting your friends, bro, I just cooked a banger, cooked a banger, cooked a banger. That's how people are gonna feel when they first hear it, right? You got to remember you've heard it 1,000 times. You know, every damn little detail. That song has driven you crazy because you've exported it 30 times, noticing little tiny things you wanted to change. You hate that song, right? It's like a little brother. Like yeah, it's annoying as hell, but you love him. So remind yourself of how you felt when you first made the track.
Does it get easier the more tracks you make over time? You're like, okay, like I'm not as annoyed with this track as I would have been, I don't know, like 10 tracks ago or something like that.
Yeah, because I spend less time on them.
That's okay.
I hear them less. So like that remix that I did, I don't know how familiar you guys are with my discography, but I did a remix for Alesso a couple weeks ago. Um, I made that on a Tuesday in 3 hours, the first half of the song, and he played it at Red Rocks on Friday. And I'd only spent like 3.5 hours on it. And then the next week, I finished it, made it a full song, and then boom, it was out like 2 weeks after that, 3 weeks after that, something like that. So spending less time on them definitely boosts your stamina, your love for them by the time that they're out, especially when you don't sit on them for a year and a half and play it every day in your car. And also, if you find yourself producing and you're listening to it over and over and over and you're not changing anything, stop listening, stop working on the song.
Yeah.
Come back with a fresh perspective. You can't like brute force those things.
Hmm.
All the work is going to get done when you sit down and you're fresh and you're like, wait a second. Now that I hear it back after a couple days away, X, Y, and Z are wrong. Let me fix those things. And then if it all sounds good, stop digging around. You're going to find things you don't like, little EQ automations you forgot about. If you didn't hear it, don't mess with it.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. Everybody
To
goes through
all
that.
to also piggyback on that a little bit, there is always that comment I keep hearing around is like, what would you consider is a barometer to have for like completing tracks in so many X amount of days times weeks or whatever, like to be what you would consider consistent enough that you're at a different level than just, I guess, hobbyistic.
I think releasing a song or two a month should be the goal. I don't think there's a real time frame on how often you should make them because I might not make anything for 2 weeks and then I'll make two songs in a day, right? Because I can just work fast on them. But I think the releasing is a good measure. If you're trying to be serious about it, anything less than a song a month, I wouldn't consider you serious about it. Or I'd tell you got to lock in and stop spending 6 months on every song. you know, but I would say I think the goal should be 2 tracks a month. Maybe that's a full-on Spotify release followed by a SoundCloud remix, whatever. But that sounds like hard. But once you like really find your sound and find what you like to use, a lot of it becomes very fast. Like I'm not doing everything from scratch every time. I like a song I made last week. Let me grab the entire drum group and put it in this song. And maybe I don't even change a thing. Or grab the synth group, you know? So everything's mixed down, got my sounds, make a few changes, and that's how I can make something in like 3 hours.
All right. Any last burning question before we let Adam go for the night? It's a little late for him. He's a
I'm
producer,
good.
but you know.
I
Oh, you're good? Okay,
I had
cool.
a coffee. I
Okay.
watched Braveheart today. I feel amped up.
All
I
right.
guess I guess another question would be in the relations to collaboration with other artists as well. How do you navigate the differences between allowing your creative sound to still shine through with other people who might differ varying in varying ways in style as well?
It can be tough. Collaborations are tough, you know. There's times where they come together so easily, and there's times where you're going back and forth and you're fighting them and you're like, dude, I don't think that sounds good. And you're trying to say it in a nice way, you know, especially if it's an artist that's a lot bigger than where you're at right now. Um, just under like don't work on songs. If you send somebody a song, don't work on a song that you're married to. You know, make sure that you're okay with changing everything about that song, or don't ask anybody to collab on it. Because if you're stuck in a rut and you're not open to anybody's input on it, nobody's going to want to work with you. They're just going to feel frustrated, right? So if I send out a song to collab, I always completely release myself from like, okay, the final product might sound nothing like this, and that's okay. But if you love a track that you're working on, don't ask somebody to come in on it because you guys are going to butt heads probably. And then also understand like you're going to have to make concessions, right? Sometimes there's just compromise. If you guys really want to drop this song together, there's going to be compromise. There might be something that you don't like that you let slide, and there might be something that they don't like that they let slide. And you just got to trust the other person's ear when they're like, "Dude, I'm really telling you, I really think we should go with this." You know?
Yeah,
So, yeah.
I think that yeah, that clears something up because it was funny because when you said sometimes it's very innate and it just happens and it's a great moment with the collab. My Don't Look Down mix that I did with my buddy Jay, like I had like maybe like 40-50% done, but
Hmm.
I had the first drop idea and I was just like I showed it to him. He was like, "I like this. Can I work on this?" And I was like, "Why not?" And then he played me the song and I didn't know the second drop and I was like jaw dropped. I was like, "Okay, yeah, this is great."
Yeah, it's awesome when it comes together real quick like that.
Oh yeah.
We got any other questions, guys?
I got one more.
All
I'm sort
right.
of like in a similar situation to you as when you said you were like sitting on a bunch of tracks.
Hmm.
Um, that like yeah, they're like done, but like I just like gonna like try to pitch them the labels and like release them next year. Well, how did you sort of like get rid of those tracks? Did you just like put them all out, or did you like shelve them and just start new stuff?
Slowly
Yeah.
release most of them, and it was a very frustrating and painstaking process. That's what I felt like was, I think I described it when Blake asked about like a failure that I felt like I had in my career, but I had a lot of momentum. I dropped this song called Angel in like 2022, and it was the biggest track that I'd had up to that point. And then every track that I followed it up with, I had made like a year prior, so nothing sounded like that, and nothing was like current to my style. So, truthfully, man, it's just like a learning experience, I think. And you got to ask yourself, like, should I just drop them all in an EP? Should I drop them like every Friday for the next 6 Fridays as singles? Um, should I drop them once a month and really try to give them their best chance, or do I just toss them in the trash and keep it going? It's about how you feel about the song. I think tossing them in the trash is usually the wrong answer for in most cases. People have just over listened, like we were just talking about. Um, but yeah, maybe do something where like for 6 weeks in a row you drop a song every Friday and just crank them out and then worry about the post-release promo and not trying to build up some release strategy, month-long release strategy around everyone.
Cool.
Or so you can
Thank
get
you.
some collabs on them, maybe. You know, I mean, if you're tired of the
Yeah.
song but you still like it, see if somebody can come along and breathe some new life into it.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah,
I
you're
guess
welcome.
we'll I guess one more question is, do you have any
Let's do
useful
Christian first.
resources? Oh yeah, of course.
Hey man, yeah. I
What
guess I just
up?
wanted to ask for some tips. You mentioned in terms of like consistent releases, like maybe let's say like once or twice, like at least like once a month. But I guess do you have any tips with like managing a budget that goes behind like a track, whether it be from like paying for like a vocalist, or maybe even like working with like a mix engineer if you do, or even like for stuff like promotion. Do you have any tips with like, I guess managing your budget to handle those consistent releases?
Yeah, that was something I really struggled with because, I was doing a lot in college. I would say there's nothing that you can spend your money on that will outperform like a video popping off on TikTok.
Hmm.
That's the most important. Those are free, or maybe very little if you try to go crazy with some production set or something. But I don't think that like paying for playlisting is the move. Like if you're gonna put your money towards anything, uh the best cost per click is gonna be like a high performing Facebook ad, Facebook and Instagram ad. Or hiring a vocalist. If this is all considered like one budget for a song where you gotta do the promotion and the vocalist, I think vocalist would come first,
Okay.
because you can do a lot of the promotion. The most effective promotion is gonna be free.
Got it. Cool. No, that's good to know. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Even now, I barely spend a dime on the promotion.
Nice. That's good to hear. I'm like
Yeah.
stressing about like how much I'm spending on that. But yeah, that's good to hear. But thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I have something to piggyback on that. Do you
What
ever
up?
back in the like what's up? Do you ever back in like the day were you ever sponsoring your like songs on SoundCloud? Like because I don't know if you've seen that feature where you can like promote your song on SoundCloud and you can put like a budget on it and I guess I don't know what they do with it. I just know you're like the SoundCloud guy. You're in all the ads.
I don't think I've ever done that, and I've never spent money on directly in SoundCloud. I've tried out Spotify Marquee and stuff, their in-app promotional tool, and the cost per click just sucks. It's like 50 cents per click. A really good Facebook ad, you can probably get down to like, I don't know, 17 cents a click or something like that. But no, I have not used that tool inside SoundCloud. Also, I want to say, full disclosure, I said I'm not spending a dime on anything right now, promotion-wise. I'm also releasing on labels right now as well. So they front promotion budgets where like maybe they try to hire some TikTok influencers or they run ads on it or they boost a well-performing TikTok, things like that. But I'll tell you, Christian, when I was in college and stuff, I was spending like maybe $30 on some MidHub or something, and that would get me to like 1,000 plays or whatever. But it's really it comes down to the Instagram Reels and the TikToks. And yeah, I haven't heard about SoundCloud's built-in promotion feature. I'll have to check that out.
How does releasing on labels work and stuff like that as well? Like releasing on Ophelia or releasing on like, all those type of labels and stuff like that.
Like how to get them your songs or just what's it like?
Like what's it like? Like do like the payment like do they pay you? Like how does that like you know what I mean? Like I don't even know like any of that stuff works like when they sign you a song and shit like that, you know?
So there's all kinds of levels to it. There's all kinds of tiers of labels within EDM, and then you break outside EDM, and then that's when things like really start to get serious. So if you're releasing on probably 99% of EDM labels, you're not getting an advance. So that means they're not paying you money up front. They're usually spending some money on promotion. It's defined in the contract, and quite honestly, it's usually based on how big of an artist you are, not how much they like the song. And they're always recouping that. So that means, sure, it's like a 50-50 royalty split, but if they spent 2 grand in the promotion, they're going to get everything until their 2 grand is paid back. So, and this, like at that level of it, when you sign a song over, don't expect to see a dime, right? And only sign that song if that label can really get you something that you can't get yourself. I think a lot of people get caught up on the vanity of it, of having a third party validate their music and be able to say it's on XYZ label. Well, they're not going to do anything. You could get to the 5, 10,000 SoundCloud plays on your own and own your track. But what is it like releasing on labels? So for years, I've sent music to labels, and it takes like months to get a response if you even hear back at all. But now that I've got momentum, they're reaching out to us, and they're offering me deals on tracks that don't even exist. They're like, we want 5 tracks, and we'll give you this much of an advance to sign this contract and make it happen with us. But then you also get locked into things, right? So these labels that I've been banging on their door for years, they're now knocking on mine because I am now bringing eyes to the music. The labels don't have as much power as they used to. It's really comes down to the artist's momentum. No label is going to like make or break you or put you on the map. There's nothing they could do. There's nothing they could do. Because even if they pick up and sign your track, they're going to be like, okay, bro, like, what's your TikTok strategy? Every label across the board. You break outside of EDM, now there's some money involved. Now, okay, you're popping. They want a 5 song, 10 song deal. They're willing to pay you 5 grand, 10 grand per track in
Hmm.
some cases, and they'll put XYZ promotional budget behind you. Money sounds sick, but you're also locking yourself into something. Every bigger artist that I've like started connecting with in the last few months, they've all told me don't sign those long-term deals. So
Yeah.
that being said, the EDM labels are a great source of validation, and there's a select few like Ophelia that I think are really valuable and can do something. And there's
Hmm.
other tracks that I would say are more just for the vanity of being able to say your songs on a label.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Thank you,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Do the labels
Uh,
help you to get bookings?
In most cases, no. Only if they have access to that. Like, for example, Breakaway. Breakaway is a festival series, there's like 16 of them, and they also do venue shows. And they have a record label as well. I'm releasing 2 songs on their label next year. So they have the power to be like, yeah, we're going to get you on some more Breakaway stuff. But the average label, it doesn't throw shows unless it's owned by an artist and like that artist is touring, like let's say, okay, I release on Ophelia Seven Lions. That means that I'm probably on a short list to play support for Seven Lions on certain shows, right? I'm on their radar. They want to support me in return for like releasing the music and stuff. But the average label that doesn't also have like some kind of show side of the business or is owned by a bigger touring artist, they're probably not going to get you any shows.
I got a question going back to like the SoundCloud remixes. Did you have like any strategy to like make them just like pop off, or was it sort of just like right timing? For like the No Broke Boys one, that one was still like recently new. Did you have like a strategy before that? Like I'm gonna remix older songs or newer songs, or like what was your sort of thought process there?
Either remixing like old bangers, like I've done a lot of like 2010s remixes, like Rihanna, or like I got some Cruella remix on there, that is capitalizing on that nostalgia that people have for it, or stuff that's brand new and popping right now, like the No Broke Boys remix. And for that and the Jiggit song, which came out near each other, what I did for both of those is I teased them on like TikTok and Instagram. As soon as a video started to do well, I posted a 45-second clip on SoundCloud, just the clip. And then I finished the song. And then I replaced the audio file of the clip with the full song. So I retained the plays, retained the comments, retained the likes, retained the reposts, and people just now suddenly have the full song in their likes. It's almost like a pre-save. Instead of just letting all that hype die off as they're in the comments asking where it's at, I give them a little sneak peek clip and then I can replace the file. You do got to be careful though, because if your remix gets flagged and taken down, you'll lose everything. So I have a burner account where I always test my remixes on the burner account, make sure they stay up for a couple of days before I ever post them on the main.
I was just gonna ask you about like how you avoid the copyright because during your college days you were saying that you can spend the money, so getting
Mhm.
releases for permissions is impossible. So
Yeah.
how did you go around it? Did you just like alter the vocal like with I don't know, like Girlify or like some kind of rack?
Every track's gonna be different. Um, some won't get flagged at all, and some like it's like there's nothing you can do to keep it up, it feels like. But for a lot of my songs, I have spent more time trying to make modifications to sneak past the SoundCloud copyright flag than I did actually producing the song. My Electric Love remix, there's 59 versions of that on my computer right now, changing tiny little things, muting like original stem layers just to figure out what part of it was triggering it, format shifting the vocal. Okay, that works. How much less can I format shift the vocal, like export a version 10% less on every version to try to get it sounding as good as possible and still sliding past the copyright. Painstakingly painstakingly horrible process, but just part of it. You know, you just got to figure out ways to sneak by it, extended intros, speed up the track, slow it down, format shift the vocal. If it's a certain stem that's triggering it, maybe you can find what part of it in the song it is. Like maybe you only have to format shift the vocal on the build, and the rest can stay the same. Like scientific method, right? Just like testing one thing out at a time, changing one variable to figure out how to get it to stay up there. But yeah, I have like 60 versions of Electric Love where they all sound pretty much the same, and like 30 versions of Sleepyhead where they all sound almost identical.
That's amazing, honestly.
Brutal. Oh, I could show you how many. I'm not lying. I'm not exaggerating. There's all those versions. But it's worth it, you know, when you get it up, when you get it to stay up. And then also, odds are nobody else is going through that process. They gave up when it got taken down. So you might have like the only remix up there of that song.
I remember Levity also said something exactly with what you said about changing like the smallest details to get around that.
It's crazy. Sometimes, like one years ago, I had a remix up there. It was up for like months, and I just changed the white noise downlifter in it, and then replaced it, and it got taken down. It's the darndest little tiny things. You never know what it's going to be. So trying everything is crucial.
When you test it on the burner account, are you doing that publicly or privately?
Private, it doesn't matter.
It works private? Okay.
Public or private, they'll rip it down if it's going to get flagged.
Okay.
And if it stays up for a couple of days, odds are it's not going to come back down. I think I've only ever had one track get taken down after it stayed up for like 8 hours or something.
I
So
love this hack. I'm writing this.
yeah, sometimes I'll start commenting and liking people's tracks on my burner, and I'm like, oh shit. It's just labeled test because that's all I made it for, just testing out uploads.
Oh, you can go ahead, Justin.
So no, I just wanted to add, uh one of the funnier ways of getting past the copyright filter is I've seen folks put like their remix and then have like 20 minutes of silence at the end. And it's like, does it work? It's like people hear my track, so here I am.
Yeah,
So
to me
thanks for
that's
sharing.
like yeah, of course. To me that feels like a last resort, you know. I don't want it to have it up there like that. I've also heard of people's accounts being taken down for doing that. So beware. But yeah, SoundCloud basically like it kind of assumes that it's like a mix if it's I think longer than 10 minutes. So some people will put just white noise at the end of their song for that long, and I guess the song's up, but to me like I'd rather pitch every dang little sound in there and figure out how to get it up before I do that. But you're right, always a last resort.
So wait, do you have a burner account because in case because you said you could do it private and it would still get taken down, but do you have a burner account just in case they do ban your account?
Yeah.
Ah, okay. That makes sense.
Because I'll have 30 versions of Electric Love taken down in a row within 10 minutes. You know,
Right.
if that was on my main, that would look insane. So I just do it on the burner.
Right. And then you just make a new Gmail and after that account
Yeah.
goes, you just get a new account.
Yeah, yeah. I've never had it taken down though. That being said,
Okay. So
never had it like
your burner has never gotten taken down?
no.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What's like the most frequent amount of bands you've had on your burner in like a short period?
Bands?
Or sorry, pulled down.
Oh. I mean, usually they can take it down in immediately. Like you upload the
Okay.
song, you refresh the page, it's taken down. And I've probably, I mean, in like one day, probably uploaded like 20 or 30 versions of a song that got taken down.
Oh, sorry. I meant like how many times, like how frequent would you say you've successfully had songs taken down and your account's not banned?
I don't know, 100.
Good to know. All right. Thank you.
Yeah. I wouldn't risk your main though. That being said, I'd
No,
make a burner. But yeah.
I've got a really old burner,
Okay.
my old personal one.
Nice.
All right, I think that's about time. A quick thing is if anyone's in LA, we haven't announced this yet, but we have an event coming up with Mousetrap. Dead Mouse is going to be there as well. It's going to be January 10th. We're going to have open door sessions there where we did this a couple months ago, but we're doing a joint EP, Neon Owl and Mousetrap. So we picked a few songs already, but we're looking for that last 1 to 2 at this event. So if anyone can make it down to LA, we'll do that on January 10th. Forgot to mention that a little earlier. But thank you so much, Adam, once again.
Yeah, thank you.
We're on time. Really appreciate it. Thank you everyone for submitting your demos and tuning in and hanging out. And we will see you at the next one. Make sure you guys check out Avello's Patreon. If you guys don't follow him on Instagram already, make sure you do that. And yeah, we will see everyone soon.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you
Thank
so much for doing
Thanks for
this.
having me.
Have a good night, everyone.
Cheers.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Have a good one, guys.
See you
Cheers.
guys. Bye.
Peace out.